The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, the Leo King. We're here at highvibe.tv for this week's Deep Love Tarot for the week of, where are we at? August 5th through the 11th of 2019. We're in August, everybody. And you all know I'm an astrologer, but I've also been a tarot reader. I actually was a tarot reader before I was an astrologer. And so if you've never watched the show before, this is a tarot show like you have never seen before. Not only are we going to go into every different sun sign, but before we do that, we pick it from a solo cup. 2, we mix in the rawness, the realness, and have a lot of fun. And we're looking at love specifically. And of course, we have Craig, which co-stars in this. What's up, Craig? How you doing today?
What's going on, Mr. Palmer? How's everyone doing out there? I'm doing quite well today.
Yeah, you know, I don't know if y'all know, Craig and I are both Leo risings. And there's a lot of fucking Leo going on. And this week especially, as we are about to see the Sun and Venus actually really start their conjunction by this weekend. We got Jupiter coming direct, we got the Sun and Venus trining Jupiter. You want to talk about love starting to build up? Woo! I think we all need it right now.
I can feel it.
Can you feel it?
I could feel it. This weekend I had like a deep realization actually that people are ready to love again. So it was nice. I know I found a little bit of peace and forgiveness that I've been holding on to. So
you got deep then.
I got deep.
And we're in Deep Love Tarot.
What
I think that's
place?
what we're going to be doing today, is going real deep. The other awesome part about this show is we are always looking at the chat. We'll like, you know, we take emails, we take questions. If you have a question you want to do for your sun sign, email us at deeplovetarot@gmail.com.
Yes, we actually have one for Leo today.
We have a Leo question.
We do.
But if you have one for another sign, but it can't be about your own chart. It has to be just about the generalization of the sign and love and so forth. There's some sort of crazy astrological question you have about that sign. Definitely send it to Craig. He'll pop up like a Gmail or something, or I can pop it up here on the iPad. And we'll answer that when that pops up. So it looks like when Leo pops up and we're going to be answering a question, we're also in this chat. Also, to support this show for always being here live every week, it's a lot of production, and we're doing this in the heat, so it's hot. But I just want to say that please check out highvibe.tv. We have awesome content on there. We've just done a revamp on the whole app as far as the aesthetic, the look, and it's so awesome because the free content on highvibe.tv, especially in the app form, it's so cool because you can watch my spiritual dance music show, you can watch other free content on there, and it's just like YouTube Premium where you can like, in the video, swipe up. So if you want to watch any of my old lectures, they're on there, and I'm loading even more. And where you could swipe up in the car and just listen or whatever. It's super cool if you want to watch my daily video horoscopes or my weekly sun sign horoscopes, my weekly tarot, my weekly intuitive. Man, it's all there. So, and that's subscription form, or you could buy the video individually. So if you just want to hear your sun sign, what I'm predicting for all aspects of your life, you can just buy that one video. It's pretty cool. Or for a much cheaper rate, you can just be part of the monthly subscription, and that helps keep this show alive. Now, before we go into the individual sun signs, we always do a spread for the collective. What's going on just with the energy for everybody, all the signs and where things are going with love. Like I said before, I'm mixing a little astrology into this. This is a big week. Uranus the planet that deals with people, is stationing, which means it's about to go retrograde. And ironically enough, it goes retrograde on Sunday, the exact same day that Jupiter comes direct. So we have Jupiter stopped and Uranus stopped. Now, this is kind of like a really weird thing. There's going to be a lot of directions turning in a lot of different areas. This is kind of like being at Grand Central Station on acid, because it's literally like all the doorways are from the universe and in this reality, and everybody's going to be going into different directions and different worlds and all this stuff. So it's going to be pretty intense. And at the same time this week, we also have Mercury leaving Cancer finally and going to be back into Leo. And this is definitely going to add even more Leo energy, as we have Mars, we have Venus and the Sun coming together this weekend. We got Jupiter, the Sun, and Venus all in a nice trine this week. But remember, we are going to have Moon in Scorpio as well, which is going to add to this Leo. When you add Scorpio and you add Leo, you know what you get? Intensity, passion, love. And this is this glue starting to form in these other directions. So it's going to be a wild week. Be ready, put on your tickets, everybody, to a whole nother freaking life and a whole nother universe and everything dealing with your happiness. And more importantly, if you're having trouble right now, which we all are, it's showing you where you need to find that maybe you should disconnect from that and find happiness where happiness lies. Maybe where you're trying to find your happiness is not making you happy. That's maybe not where happiness lies right now. We have to explore new territory. We have to explore new areas. And I just want to remind people of that. Let's do this collective reading. I mean, and if you're new to this show, we get a little wild on here. And I'm just putting that, what is it called? Like, I don't know, warning?
Yeah,
warning.
That'd be a little PSA announcement.
Yeah, PSA.
Shit gets weird. PSA. Shit gets
What
weird.
does PSA stand for? Like
Public service announcement.
Oh, public service announcement.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Let's see what the collective has to say. So for the first cards, we are doing the Astro Black Moon astrology cards. First card we got for this week is the Sagittarius card. How funny, it's coming direct this week. Jupiter in Sagittarius, we have a lot of energy. Even the moon is going to cover over Jupiter as it's coming online with the trines to a lot of aspects with this Leo energy. So this is really positive. There's so much Sagittarian energy, so much Jupiterian, so much of this positive energy and life force moving forward in our life and expansion. And, I like how this card says I see. It also has a 21, which equals a 3, which is very Jupiterian. And there's a lot about us going on expeditions, exploring new territory in love, exploring what makes us happy, exploring, seeing some positivity. I think that that's been kind of a hard thing lately, especially when it comes to love. The middle card we got is the lucky card. I think that there is a lot of luck coming, but we need to be willing to see it. I always use this middle card as this challenge, or you could look at it as a present, but I think that we've been needing luck, and I think that we need to see that luck is there. We need to stop doubting luck. We need to stop saying, oh, I don't really know if this is going to be good, or I don't know if this luck is really going to pan out. That's a problem. When we start to have all these positive doorways, all these things that we're starting to see in our life, but guess what? We're like, well, maybe it's not going to turn out that great. That'd be like me being like, you know what, I just opened this Sprite. It's probably going to be crappy, even though, yeah, it's been sitting out in the back of the trunk of my Corvette, but it's still delicious. I'm lucky I even have it. I'm lucky I even have this. A lot of people in the world don't even get to drink Sprite. So it's, I think, also being about understanding the luck that you have with love this week, that you're even lucky that you can have love and that it's possible. And that fact of even accepting that, knowing it, and applying it into yourself is bigger than anything. When you start to deny yourself of believing in love, well, that's when you start to see things kind of fall down. Like, you don't want any of that. We're using the Enchanted deck, and we got Enchantment. So, and this is a spiritual advice card. Like, if it feels magical, if it feels good, if you're starting to come into imagination, dreams, enchantment energy, like this is gonna help out a lot, and also this is the direction to follow. If it feels kind of like a dud, or it feels like, you know what, this isn't on my list. I've been having conversations a lot. I had a conversation with my friend Sarah Delane. She's gonna come on After Dark soon, and we're gonna do some relationship videos. We've been friends a long time. And we were talking yesterday, we had dinner, and it was so funny because it's like, And actually I talked to somebody else about this when it comes to like everything on the list, okay? There's something about when you're like in a relationship and you're like, they meet this on the list and this on the list and this on the list, and then you actually get into that, and then there's something about it that like doesn't work, you know? There's something about just a natural magic that comes into the air that there is no list for that, it just works out. And Sarah and I had some interesting conversations yesterday about like, okay, so like there's no's on lists, right? But it's like, what if like maybe there's a no on that list that actually is just the one no holding you back from the greatest love of your life? Like it could be something as little as, well, I think the conversation we had, because her and I don't smoke weed anymore, but like, and it's not that it's any of our no's or anything, but it's like, what if it would be like, no, I won't date anybody who smokes weed? But what if it's like they're cool and that you love them and they're beautiful? It's like learning to accept people for who they are and find that enchantment. Don't block yourself by being like, well, you know, the feeling's beautiful, but like my no's are popping up. It's like, wait, what are those no's about? Like, what is it your ego is holding on to? Because ego and enchantment don't really go hand in hand. Ego is like, I want it my way. Enchantment and beauty and magic, and especially like more imagination and the magic of love. And we got, look at this spread for the collective. This is beautiful. Sagittarius and luck and enchantment? Oh my gosh. And so I always pull a fourth overall. We got the King of Pentacles reversed. You know what? That's so funny. Letting go of this feeling of attainment through feeling like, you know, okay, like this is kind of the guy who's got everything on the list. Maybe it's okay if we just approach things without being like, well, I have everything I have, or, you know, but the other positive part I think about this is King of Pentacles reversed is saying like, we can attain what we want if we understand the value of things. So, you know, there's a value of understanding the enchantment. Maybe there's a lot of enchantment around, so it's almost like, oh my gosh, everything looks enchanting. It's kind of like, but it's like, where does it really feel solid? Where does it really feel like you're like, yeah, this actually has some meaning. This actually has some beauty to it. This actually has something that I can attain. And I think that if we get rid of anything that's blocking us from attaining this beautiful aspect, which goes into a lot of what I was just talking about, especially this list thing, and if it's not on the list, the King of Pentacles definitely is like, check, it's like Ebenezer Scrooge, you know, it's like Scrooge McDuck, like, the list says this, like, here you go, Mickey, here's 2 pennies, like, because he got it all, but does he really got it all with it reversed? Do we really have it all? Or are we really barren right now because we are thinking we have it all when really we don't? And the way that we project that is subconsciously through kind of acting out our subconscious, you know, we have what we don't really have. And the Astro dice for this collective for this week is Pisces, the Sun, in the 3rd house. This is about communication, but more importantly, this is about highlighting our thoughts and our imagination into understanding what that is and actually experiencing that in a way where we actually are curious. Like, use your curiosity to go into what feels a little bit more mystical, a little bit more imaginative, a little bit more, you know, outside of like what normal is. It's like the get out of the normal, get into the stimulation of fantasy more. It's okay, that's what love is. Every story in love comes from, it kind of hits you out of nowhere, and it's not when it like this normal. I was just telling Craig, like, dating apps are so horrible. They try to talk to somebody and they don't respond back, or they don't. It's like, what the fucking point is all that shit? Unless, you know, there's a better dating app to come out. So there's a lot of things that right here are saying, go for the magic. Don't go for what just feels kind of like, I don't know, I guess you could say old or decrepit. I don't know. I don't think relationships and love and everything go together well. And if you're in a partnered relationship, you know, this is where the great test will be. Is it moving into imagination? Is it moving into positive aspects? Is it really enchanting, or is it kind of you holding on with the King of Pentacles to something that really is not worthy of holding on to anymore either? But if it is, then this is about taking it to the next level or going to a new level as well. Crazy vibes, Craigie.
Well, it's easy to set yourself up for failure too when you have that full list going. You can overlook some great experiences by saying no, like this person is not right for me directly off the bat, and that's not fair to anybody because there's things maybe that he or she or they are changing about themselves that they just like haven't gotten around to yet that they've been working on. That might have been a hard no for them at one point. That they've changed that, that they're willing to accept something about you that might be wrong.
I agree 100%. I mean, I think it's like a weird thing because there's so many people that create these no's. Like, I know people, I'm not going to say names, but like I know people who are like literally like no based off what they drive, like, or no off where they live. That's a very LA thing too. Like, it's like, unless you're in this area code, zip code. Actually, that used to be a fucking song. I remember when we were young, fucking area codes. Well, what rapper did that? I forgot.
That'd be Luda.
Different area codes.
That'd be ludicrous.
Yeah, that would be ludicrous, huh? And fucking, like, I think it's like, oh, judging you based off that, or judging you based off these like things that really, it's like, what? It's like, do you think Sleeping Beauty, like, she was in a fucking weird hut with some weird three freaking, I don't know if you call them what, fairy godmothers? Okay. That were...
Creatures of the light.
Creatures of the light? I don't know. It was funny because they waited the 16 years not to use their magic, and then they let their egos get the magic, and when they used the wands because they didn't want to do the dress, they didn't want to make the cake, and so they start doing it, and that's how the fucking crazy vulture finds it and goes back to the queen and knows because they did it. So, but she was hanging out in the middle of fucking nowhere, and they told her, don't talk to strangers, don't talk to anybody, And long story short, of course, she meets the guy she's already betrothed to, and I forgot how the song goes, but yeah. Not gonna sing that song, actually. So.
You should sing for us all. I think it'd be a
I'm
nice
trying to remember
treat.
the song, so it goes like,
if you wish upon a
no,
star.
I think no, it's not that. It's
Could
like somebody else. It was I forgot, but it's a good song. It's not bad. Although I think she sings it better when he comes in. It's like okay, but it's like yeah, she definitely sings it better. All right, so this is where we are going to connect the next reading based off. What's going on in the solo cup? What's going on in this solo cup? Do we got anything good here? I'm predicting Virgo. We got Taurus first. Man, Taurus has been coming up front and center a lot lately in these readings, man. The bulls.
Yeah, pushing their way to the front, being extremely demanding.
They do like to push their way up to the front, but they also... once they get to the front and then people pass them, then they wait and then they come charging to try and catch up. So they get there and then, it'll be interesting, especially because Uranus goes retrograde in Taurus. So this is going to be kind of a who knows week for Tauruses. We're going to see what the cards say. The first card that we got for Taurus is the fire element of desire. Oh, gosh. So the fire's kicking up, the desires are kicking up. I'm wondering with Taurus where this desire is going to go. It is a fire element, which, believe it or not, the fire elements for Tauruses in astrology are the emotional ones. So this is firing up emotional energy for Taurans pretty passionately. But where does that go in love? Does it go towards, we're going to find out right now. It's going towards divinity as a challenge. It's like, oh my gosh, your emotions are pulling you towards something that you know is divine, that you know you need to be called to, that you know you need to go towards, but like, why are you blocking that? So there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of great energy, and like the key that unlocks all this love this week for you is like what just feels like you know you must do. You just must do it. But why block yourself? Why start doubting yourself? Like I think that you got to kick that fire in Taurus this week. You got to step into that. There's a lot of divine energy trying to come in your partnerships, or if you're single out there right now, and to go with it. Don't be afraid to go into the emotion. Don't be afraid to unlock this beautiful key of divinity of things that come in that are naturally being told to you. You get the shine card, and then you'll shine bright. And I think that you're ready to shine right now. You're ready to feel the brightness of life. You're ready to step into a lot more passion and love. And in this deck, this is July 8th through August 4th. How ironic, we just passed this period. But this is the changeover of the brightest part of the year, especially in the Northern Hemisphere. So this is about like one of the most bright, shining energies that you could step into. But it's whether or not you're going to follow this divine message that you're being called to this week, which is pretty interesting. So this is a really good week for Tauruses in love. Your overall is you got the 9 of Cups upright. So this is one of the best cards, especially for joy in the deck, but it's about that you need to go through and experience every emotion in order to have the understanding of it all. Because there is a weird aspect. He is smiling, but he also is cross-armed. So he knows his defenses when he needs to. He's felt this emotion, he's felt that emotion. And then he's sitting down as well. So it's not like he's like jumping up and down like you see in the 4 of Cups or in the 10 of Cups, right? There's a 9 of Cups here where there's also the kind of award banquet of what has been felt. So there's this aspect of overall, it's like, how do you really know unless you experience it? You've got to have the experience. So I'd throw them, we're changing the name of the old slide we like to throw. We're calling this, I don't know what, the flirt, fun, happy, fun card? I don't know. We're going to throw if it's good for love because we didn't get time to make new graphics, so we're going to use the old graphics. Originally, we called this the sex one. We're going to throw the sex one as love or flirting or positive aspects in relationships because we don't have a couple yet that are happy.
We're going to be changing up a few things.
We're changing them. We're all coming out of Mercury retrograde.
We want to interact with everybody.
And we're going to interact with
the attention that we've been leaving out a certain demographic of individuals, and we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We're here for everybody.
We are here for everybody. And
next week.
We threw pasta on the wall when we started this thing, and this idea was literally just like creativity at its finest. And we are, you know, Craig just grew grapes in his backyard, and fucking, he brought me, he's like, you want to have one of my grapes from my vineyard? I'm like, what? I ate one. I'm like, this is the best grape I've ever had in my life. It was like, and there was a seed in it, and it was just amazing. And I think, you know, it's like fine wine, right? It comes from these like really ripe and really great grapes. Like we're ripening this show. Like your grapes. So throw it, give it to them. This is love, happiness, great connection, have the fun.
The Tauruses need to act on that passion. They can't just stand there in the wait any longer and just kind of hold themselves back. It's unfair to yourself, Taurus. You got to act on that love and that passion that you're feeling inside.
And the dice that they got was 5th house Pisces Neptune, which Neptune in the 5th, I have that one. Ooh, that's a fun one. Definitely go to the imagination of love more. And with Pisces there, holy cow, in its home sign, it's like, there's the ultimate love there. But what's interesting is Pisces, and especially where Neptune is right now for Tauruses, has to do with, you know, this connection to people and to trusting people. There's been a lot of trust aspects with people and what people have done in the past and so forth. So Taurus, like the only way to have love is get through your weird barriers of trust and go deep into happiness and love and see what's there. Love can hurt because it's a risk going into love, right? It was a risk for God to create the love of all of us in this planet, but it's turned out pretty fucking good. If you don't watch the media, like, it's great. So, you know, sure, there is crap that happens. We live in a chaotic universe, and we live in a beautiful, you know, harmonic one, and there's a middle ground, and we're living in both. And you know what? Why not go have fun and live fun and go do something more truly, you know, called into your heart space? So great reading for Tauruses, man. I think Taurus is kind of, that's maybe what the retrograde.
Starting off with a bang right there.
That is starting off with a bang. I hope everybody gets a good bang today.
I'm about that. I'm ready to participate.
Virgo. See, I was close. I was feeling Virgo, and it came up second. So We got those Virgos in there. What's everybody doing up in the chat? Yo, yo, yo. So I'm here on the iPad too, in the chat room with people, and I think Craig even has it hooked up to where you could like show it. Oh, okay, hold on. Yeah, it did. There we are. Oh, and then there we go. No, it's yeah, it won't let me control the audio from here. But live chat. That's weird, won't let me control the audio from there. But I think it does show at least the chat, right? Doesn't show the chat on the screen?
No, it's just a frozen image of you. I can show everybody though. You holding a red solo cup. There you go, big guy. It's up on the TV.
Really?
Yeah, you're twinning, bro. You got your doppelganger.
Hold on one second.
Interaction at its finest.
Now? I think it does show at least the chat. I think in there you have to turn off the volume. Just go to the top where the volume is. Just scroll and then just, yeah. And then it should be showing it, right? It's just stuck on one image? Oh, really?
Yeah, so.
Wow, that's kind of crappy that they do that.
We got the build-up coming for you, Virgos.
That kind of sucks. Like, they don't let me pull the chat out either, which is really weird. iPads, you all need to fix that. All right, let's do some Virgo stuff. The Leo card, the love card already, but you gotta have the power of that love this week coming up. And I think this is a week of building momentum for having love. There's a lot of 12th house energy going on with Virgos right now with all this Leo. So this is a great card, but it takes courage. I think that, it's gonna take courage if you're in a relationship and you're feeling the love and you want it to go in a new way or a new direction. That's definitely something that, you're gonna have to play with. You're gonna have to start to come into play, happiness and fun. But if your relationship's not in that, or if you're dating somebody that's not in that, that's gonna be a pretty big sign. But this is like, go and explore your extreme fun and courage to go there. Boundaries, that's your issue. You have too many walls up about one, either A, entering into love, or B, in a relationship, calling the boundaries out. This is like you needing to get a little bit more fierce, Virgo. Time to get some fierceness going. You got a lion and a freaking tiger. I don't even know what to give him on this one. I would say that I would give him a little bit of relationship trouble week. We need to, there's a little bit of trouble brewing. And it's like, it's not like it's like bad trouble. It's just like trouble within yourself of like, I need to call the boundaries out of where I'm not feeling happy and it's not fun anymore. And if you're single, it's like, why are you boundarying yourself up and like not bringing that fierceness out? This is Leo, this is a tiger, and this is very Leo Scorpio. And this is gonna, I think, affect Virgos the most on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with the moon in Scorpio. This is gonna be like, wow. And your overall card is strength. You can't make this shit up. Come on, Virgo. Have the strength to do what you know you must say to be happier. Or if you're single and you want happiness, like you're gonna have the strength to step up and step into it. You just can't, keep sitting around doing the same thing over and over again. Your overall card that you got is, oh yeah, you know what? The Five of Pentacles, this card. You're not some victim. You create your own victimhood. The victimhood of where you're not happy in a relationship, or the victimhood of where you feel like, I want love, but I can't yet, or you're creating your own kind of story that's like not allowing you to have the love that you truly want to have. And this week, that needs to end completely. And you got Sun and Capricorn in the 7th house. Oh man, so you got a very 7th house aspect with Capricorn there, though. It's like you're gonna have to learn literally how to really step forward into manifesting in your relationships what you want, like, and actually making choices and actually growing and actually taking some growing pains and actually moving towards the energy of like, this is what I gotta do. It's a little bit of toughness here in the 7th house. You gotta be a little bit tougher to get what you want in a relationship. It doesn't mean that you have to be an asshole, but it just means that you just have to really step into the power. That's what Capricorn is when you step into your greatness. And especially you can have greatness in relationships this week, but by calling those boundaries out, by having the strength to do it, or by entering or trying something in relationships that you've never tried before and getting rid of some of those boundaries. Ooh, those Virgos, man. Woo!
Well, the good thing is that sounds like a bunch of internal issues that can easily be changed by tapping into the actual power that you have in there to, to make those changes that you needed to feel better. So it's attainable. It's out there. You just got to actually be willing to make those changes and go for it.
Yeah, and it's funny because Virgo is actually a sign about change, but it's weird with Virgo because they're like a machine. So once something's working, they don't like to fucking fuck with it. Like, it's working. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, are we still using, old industrial 1900s, like, printing presses? No. Are we still using, like, old machines to press out certain things? Like, no. Like, we've got robotic arms now that make cars and all this shit. So it's just, like, making upgrades, like, for Virgos. I think is the change, is, like, upgrading themselves, upgrading the machine, that you could still run efficiently, but don't be, blocking out the ability to make changes that can make it better, you know what I mean? Like, Virgos can kind of get like, this works, so I don't want to stop doing that, but it's like, yeah, you've got your operation, maybe your schedule needs to change, or maybe, like, I know some Virgos that like literally like live their schedule like to the minute, like the second they hit the bed, the alarm is set right there, like the second they're up, you eat lunch at this time, they only eat this food at this moment, it's like, oh my gosh, like, can you let anything in now? It's like, let some stuff in. Let some stuff in. Hey, people are saying that Craig has sincere eyes. What does my eyes look like? Crazy motherfucker?
Yes. No. You have very giving eyes, David.
No, actually I get a lot that I have crazy looking eyes. Like, that fool looks crazy. Not crazy, like actually I was talking to somebody, and I just want to put out, positive and prayer for everybody during the shootings this weekend. But somebody had brought up to me when they looked at the picture of the shooters, always, when you look at their eyes, like there's always some really weird shit going on in there.
Yeah, it's lost in the depth of themselves.
Yeah.
You got to be coming from a really dark place to pull some of that shit off.
So I'm not referring to I have eyes like that. Like, you could see there's life in people's eyes, and then you could see when there's kind of like a dullness behind people's eyes. I'm glad that you got sincere. I got intense. Somebody said bedroom eyes, mysterious eyes. I'll take those. I have passionate eyes. I think I'd rather have sincerity, though.
It's the curse of the blue. I mean, my sister actually has brown eyes, and I like to mess with her and say, don't get mad at me because you got brown eyes, and I got the blue eyes of the family.
Well, your sister's a Leo. I don't know many Leos that get blue eyes.
Well, it's the depth. It's the depth.
It is true. I think that with blue eyes, or, even like green, or like eyes, like there's some sort of like depth there. I have like truly hazel, so I'm like yellow, like green and brown, like, and it's speckled all over the place. So like, I don't know, maybe I'm just like a weird mixture of just like a bad paint job on the eyes.
It's typical of someone with brown eyes to say that they have green eyes, so.
I'm not claiming green.
It's all
claiming
right.
hazel.
It's all right.
Hazel.
Hazel, green, yeah.
Hazel eyes. Hey, at least I don't got, you still can't hide those lion eyes. And when I was a kid, I thought lion, like the lion of like a lion animal.
They were talking about
Cancer. But when the Eagles sing Lion Eyes, it's about, no, like you're lying. Like, so cancers are up next. And we're not, maybe cancers need to pay attention to this message. Maybe there's some people lying to them, or maybe you're lying to yourself. I don't know. But I always pay attention to this shit. As being a reader, you pick up everything that goes on. But a rich old man, and you won't have to worry. That song is just so like, ugh. It's like the old 70s version of sugar daddy life. What do you feel about sugar daddy life?
In regards to what?
Like, I want to know your opinion about sugar daddy life. Because
I've got no problem with it. I mean, I've always kind of thought, someone can be attracted to someone for their intellectual capacity. And yeah, I mean, if you're into that, then I could see why I'd be attracted. If you like nice things, I mean, for the most time, people that have a lot of money have worked really hard to attain that. So if you like someone that's drive, then yeah, doesn't matter what age. Older the berry, sweeter the juice.
Yeah, that's Craig's great line. I love that one.
I see nothing wrong with it. As long as it's coming from a healthy spot on both sides, roll with it.
Okay, so I agree with you. I am like open book. I have one issue with the whole sugar daddy thing. One, especially like in LA and stuff, a lot of women look for sugar daddies. So if you don't know what sugar daddy is, they want a guy who's going to pay for their place, give them money. They'll hang out with them maybe once or twice. Usually, believe it or not, a lot of people think they're actually doing like some sort of sexual exchange. They're usually not. Like these girls, like straight up, like they usually reel in older men who are kind of lonely, give them a little bit of attention. Maybe they're doing some like first, second base stuff. I don't know. And then
just a little kiss here and there.
Just a little kiss, little first base, like not.
That's a kiss between two consenting adults.
Yeah, I mean, it's a kiss between two consenting adults, I guess. But it's like, what happens in that situation is there's always a person who gets hurt, especially usually the sugar daddy itself. And then two, usually those sugar daddies, because they're paying for the place, kind of put rules on things. Like, well, or they'll like get kind of creepy and jealous because they're not getting the love that they want. So then they like scope out the place, and then usually the person, and there's sugar mamas too, don't get me wrong. So I'm not trying to just point out that there's only sugar daddies, there's sugar mamas too. But then they kind of scope the place out, or then I remember when I was younger, I remember dating some girls in LA, and I'm like, how do you pay for your rent? Like I was doing this in Hollywood, and I had my studio in my apartment, I was doing readings 5 to 6 a day, so that's how I was living. But when I go on a date in Hollywood, I'd be like, how are you paying for this apartment? And then they would just be like, well, I'll be honest with you, I have a sugar daddy. I'm like, oh, okay. And I remember going on a date once, went to her house and everything, and she gets a text, like, who's that guy from her sugar daddy? Like, he fucking had planted something, or he was outside to know that I had walked in the house. I'm like, what the fuck? This is just a little creep-bally. So I'm not saying I have an issue with it precisely, but I feel that it always is going to end up a little bit weird. Somebody's not going to end up happy. One, the person getting the money is not going to end up happy when that person that's the daddy or the mama stops paying the money, and then the person that's paying the money, if they're not getting anything in return and they wasted that money, then they kind of get weird when it all breaks up, and then they kind of feel like, a little bit emotionally used or drained.
It's definitely not a healthy situation.
Yeah, it's definitely not
healthy.
But,
if you've got a lot of cash to spend, and if someone else is in need some cash, then who am I to say that that's a bad thing to do?
Well, I think there's another part of sugar daddy thing or sugar mama thing where it's just go marry a rich person, I guess, and be with them. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like a half-ass, maybe wanting freedom, but wanting your stuff and then not wanting to work, and then. But I don't know. It's a very weird world. And you know what? I don't understand all of it. I just understand astrology. But I think in astrology, that would be a hard one to try and figure out. That would be a very Saturn, Venus, kind of aspects, like in synastry, that would be weird, maybe like a quincunx or something. Anyway, Cancers want their readings. We got the Cancer glyph. Oh, wow, perfect timing. Cancers. You got the void of course moon. So there is some sort of feelings that are off right now, off course. In astrology, a void of course moon, there's actually different ways to look at it. The traditional one, the most widely used in modern astrology today, is where when the moon is at the end of a sign and it's not making any aspects. And this could be sometimes a long time. It could be, it doesn't matter the degrees, but it's the most void, of course, at the last, like I would say, I don't know, 5 to 6 degrees of a sign. It's not aspecting anything. And so it kind of feels like the moon is just kind of, and you notice in life, everything is just kind of off. Everything is just kind of like, if you're trying to do a project, there's no energy there. If you're trying to start a relationship, maybe they're like, no, I'm not feeling it. I'm not going out tonight. So, Cancer, there's a lot of feelings that need to be addressed that are making you feel off. What are those feelings? You need to look around, especially the moon is definitely dealing with your home. It's dealing with, family situations. It's dealing with your comfort zones. It's dealing with, some secure foundational aspects. So this is definitely something to pay attention to intensely about your love life this week. And you did get the challenge card, which is nature spirits. So I feel like it's almost like, for Cancers is this week where it's like, okay, some of the moon energy and the emotions are missing. There's things missing. And I think the challenge is that like what is spirit saying? There could be a complication too with the challenge of nature spirits. You could be taking signs that maybe aren't signs. Like I've noticed that when a challenge position comes with like nature spirits, like it's like, well, it looks like this is good. It seems like a sign, but it does, maybe it's not divine. Maybe it is not like divine signs. There's a difference between like a sign, like right now, I mean, like, I don't know, like I could be like thinking about something and be like, oh yeah, and that was funny because I was drinking a Sprite, and it's like, I have a Sprite now. Like, sure, that's like a little bit of a, we like to say synchronicity, but I think that this is like kind of missing out on what are real synchronicities, what's real divine signs, and what's kind of not. And maybe it's about reconnecting too with your, the true spirits out there. And, with nature spirits, it's much more than just like nature itself. I think that there's an aspect of the laws of nature and the spirits that run through there. Of like, are these emotions missing because there are some spiritual laws that are natural laws? Nature comes from natural. Natural laws that you are not in right now. Natural places. So we got to throw the relationship trouble thing up because this is kind of funky. It was interesting, some people in the chat are putting like, maybe it's a traffic sign or there's signs everywhere. And I believe there's always signs everywhere. But I think when you get this kind of as a challenge, sometimes you can take some signs maybe too seriously. And then that's how you know the emotion's missing. Like we all fuck up. Like we all take certain things as a sign, like, especially in love, right? We might like, if we're in a relationship, we'll be like, oh, well, looks like they're turning around. I got a good sign of that, right? Like, and then it's like, fucking 2 hours later, blank, you know what I mean? Has that ever happened to you, dude?
Yeah, blind love.
Blind love. That is exactly what this is.
Trusting someone when you shouldn't, I guess. Yeah.
This is some blind love aspects here. All right, so let's see the overall spiritual vices. Intuition. You can't make this shit up. So, oh man, I think that Cancers are dealing with the hardcore truth. We got to throw truth bomb right now. Truth bomb coming. That you need to follow your intuition. And I think that intuition might be a little misguided when you're trying to fill signs. This is exactly what it is. Blind love is such a good thing, Craig. It is trying to make signs fill a missing emotional aspect that is like, it's like invisible air in this cup. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if there's no actual like truth to the life that the intuition's telling you, but it's almost like you try to make some sign out of nothing, you know, and like fill it up with the hole that's there, it's still going to be empty and you're going to still be feeling missing. You're like, why? But the signs, it's like, are you creating your own signs through, what's that called, Craig?
That would be Blind Love Bob for 200.
Boom! And this is nothing against cancers or negative aspects, but also I think if you're dating per se, like look out and like really see like what's out there. If you're single right now, like think about all the different people that you're assessing right now. And then if you're in a relationship right now, what is going on here? This is some definite relationship trouble stuff, which we already threw that graphic about. Your overall card is the Justice card. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's time to do your own justice on yourself. And, you know, you need to really kind of come into a much more better judgmental place and actually weigh the actual truth out more. This is a major arcana card and is right over that nature spirit. It's like, this is the true balance, and this is a week where cancers are really going to have to, like, you know, you're going to have to call things out, like, for what they are in yourself and outside of yourself for, like, what is really true and what is not true. And you're not guilty either. I want to say that. The overall is like, you're not guilty for doing this. You're not a bad person for being in this space. I think that you are yearning for feeling, you're yearning for emotion, you're yearning for a connection with your spiritual, emotional self. And the intuition is to guide you, but are you listening to it? Because I think that the intuition is trying to guide you to truth, and you might not be wanting to hear that because you want to feel an emotion that's missing. But sometimes what we learn in astrology from void of course moons is that time in our life, that's not a time to do something. And unfortunately, you know, there's some times when I see people and they set parties up like on Facebook, right? Or like DJ events or house parties or birthday parties. And I'll see like the time and I'll be like, okay, yeah, of course, it's a Friday night at 6 p.m. But like there are some times when void of course moons are right there at that time. I'm like, this is gonna be a dud party. Like I just know that as an astrologer, right? Like it's just not gonna go maybe like exciting. Everybody's gonna be kind of in their own space. You know, we get excited about things and we get there and it's not really there, you know what I mean? And that's always, I think, a little bit difficult. So I think that it's important to know, you know, that aspect. That sometimes, no matter how much we want something, if there's something missing, you're not gonna be able to like, you know how people at parties, if it's a dud, try and create a better party and it always then now it goes into chaos? Like, it's like trying too hard. This almost feels like trying too hard for something that's missing, you know? We got Scorpio, the 12th house, Mercury. Yeah, so this is love is blind, but over obsessive thoughts into imaginative places. But if it's the truth, that's okay. But if you got to gauge the truth by actual how do you gauge the truth as a Scorpio, Craig? Because you're a Scorpio.
I guess. Think that they're lying first and then build from there. No, I'm just kidding. To gauge
No, do you have
truth,
like an intuitive knowing, like instantly, like this is just fucking not true?
Definitely. Sometimes it's wrong. I've been completely wrong for a long time about people.
Well, I would say that
then you
maybe
take the early flight home and yeah, shit hits the fan. But yeah, no, go with the intuition first for sure. With that deep feeling that you have, definitely go off of that because it's easier to rebuild off of a mistake if you cut it off too early than it is to let something linger on and then everybody's affected. People that you bring into it, you're going to be affected emotionally. So if your intuition says no, I would go with that off the bat every single time and then go from there.
Good point. I think that Scorpio's aspect is trust in your intuition, trusting in it. And maybe it's when you second guess yourself and then you kind of continue to see it, that the original intuition that was right maybe then changes. And then it's like, that was the hit. Like, I think Scorpio, it's an automatic hit. That's why it has a stinger. It's like, Scorpions don't go out attacking. They only are defensive for energy that comes in that's threatening to them. And that's why they can sense really deeply when they're being threatened by a lie or threatened by some sort of negative aspect, and they have to go, whoa. And I think that it's like you just have to go with that instant hit. Yeah, this is a threat. And kind of put up that tail and then, blow some jewel in their face, But with the 12th house,
different.
it's like
situations change, but
I'm like with 12th house. Oh my gosh, this thing all the way underneath there again.
And there we have it. He dropped the dice for the first time, and we made it.
You can
50 minutes. 50 minutes. Who wants to see Mr. Palmer digging under the couch? There's a little shot for all you ladies out there.
Yeah.
No, it's easy to get wronged by people, I think. Definitely when you want to trust someone, when you actually like have a bond with somebody, it's very easy just to kind of be blinded and not necessarily listen to input that your friends have or input that you've been feeling about this whole entire time. And sometimes that's a lesson that you got to learn. It's a hard one, but sometimes we have to learn those.
Yeah, it's a very hard one, I think. So follow the intuition, but the 12th house is saying like, where's the delusions and of the truth? Who do you think is next? What did people say in there? They like that. Well, they like my booty shot.
You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, you are
Well, I don't know. I'm
welcome.
wearing shorts like right now. And they're not like, it's not like I'm in like a Speedo or something.
I've got my Speedo in the truck. It's white and black.
Bring back the
Fits
old
quite
days. You got
nicely.
Libras. Libra. I wore Speedo from 5 years old to 18. Now I wear the Speedo shorts. Do you wear the old school Speedo?
Yeah, of course. I'm not converting to those little shorts.
I don't know. I just feel like my junk is betterly together.
I don't know. I guess maybe I'm lacking.
I don't know.
Still fits me pretty. Still fits me pretty nice.
Well, because Craig and I, we swam since we were kids competitively and against each other, actually, like team-wise. And we played water polo, too, in high school. And so...
Shout out to Green Tree Gators all around the world.
Yeah, Deerfield Bluefins. And, but Irvine Vaquero water polo. We can agree on that. But there was a thing about in water polo, you had to wear 2 Speedos. Because we play gnarly. And believe it or not, it is said that water polo is one of the most hardest sports to play in the world. It is an Olympic sport. People think that we're standing on the bottom of the pool. We're not. So we're swimming. And the way that you have to like take somebody down is you have to, sometimes like when the refs aren't looking, because there's a lot of action going on in the water. So when you're swimming, what you do is you like, when you put your arm out and there's somebody swimming, you pull their Speedo and pull them back. Or you pull their foot. I always did that. I would always take someone's foot, but you make it look like you're swimming, like, whoop. But if you're wearing one Speedo, and you pull that Speedo off, you're gonna be naked in the pool, and it's not gonna go down.
Or they just get ripped completely.
And usually,
torn apart.
I think it was, who was it on our team? He wore glasses. He always wore like the oldest, most ripped outside Speedo on purpose. I think it was Justin Herzog or something. Maybe that was my years, but yeah.
Joel.
And like, so it became like a cool thing to have the most torn up Speedo outside to make you look like you just went through shark attacks or something.
Speedos and rainbows. That was a big part of my life.
Rainbow sandals.
Yeah.
Well, it was cool because, we'll get to Libra, but there's a good story about like the life Craig and I lived. Like going to high school, and imagine being a water polo player in Southern California where it's sunny all the time. We practiced at 5:45 a.m. So we'd have to swim in the mornings until like 7:30, and then you literally get like 10 minutes to just either shower, just put some clothes on. But like we used to wear parka, in the winter, like the parkas that you see. Like if you watch the Olympics, you'll see like what's his name? Fucking Phillips always is wearing. And
That'd be Michael Phelps.
Or Phelps.
Phelps for 300, Bob?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I would have failed that one. Or Amanda Beard, who we swam with, and she's an Olympian. We have a lot of people who came from where we swam in that went to the Olympics. But the thing is we'd go to class, and I would just wear my Speedo with the parka and like keep it open. and then get yelled at by the teacher. But I knew that's how I could get back out of class and go change and not have to be in class.
Oh, very sneaky.
Yeah, but then they caught on, and then it was like,
sneaky.
you know, if you do this again, you're going to the principal again. I'm like, oh, what? Or the assistant principal.
It's sent you to
Anyway, so,
mediation.
you know.
You just be in the room talking to yourself.
Well, no, it was just like I thought it was cool. It was just like, you know, I'm just gonna go to fucking class in my Speedo, like, you know what I mean? Like, fuck it. I got away with it a couple times. All right, Libras. They got the air element. They got communicating. This is a good week for you to figure out a lot of things in relationships, communicate the right things, and clear the air. There's a lot about clearing the air this week, but also I think there's a positive week. You know, air element is positive. It's a positive aspect in astrology. It's the two positives are fire and air. The negatives, of course, are water and earth. Not saying that they're negative, but, you know, air, this is definitely, and you are an air sign. So there's a lot about, you know, coming into a lot of excitement this week and fun. And more importantly, I think also just like clearing the air with things and coming into clear communication. So I think that this is a good week to start from what we're seeing here. We did get the safe travel. So in relationships, this is weird. So clearing the air is good, but maybe there's still some misunderstandings of where things are going. And I think that the challenge here is that there's still a lot of, I don't know which direction to go. Like, you know what I mean, in a relationship or in your current relationship, or, you know, maybe you're still connected to an ex, or maybe you're in a relationship of dating. There's a little bit of still not knowing exactly which direction to go right now. So communication is your best friend. Your spiritual advice is the luck card. So you got a lot of luck to get what you want, especially if you communicate it. But if you don't communicate it, then you're not going to know where you go, and then you're wasting the luck. So you have the luck to get what you want if you communicate it. That will help you understand where to go. But you have to be clear. Now, Libras, I'll be honest with you, are not very clear. Now, I know some Libras that are clear. But I know a lot of Libras who tend to sit on the fence for a lot of time and just not get, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, what the hell, Be clear, be sound. You got a lot of good luck coming for you when you communicate, and more importantly, when you know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, you can't access luck. Luck only comes to those that know where they're going, because luck is a destination that already has a predetermined understanding.
That was
You know
good.
what's funny?
I liked that.
I was literally about to like do the Kermit, and then you just did that, and I'm like, that's even better.
Yeah, no, that was directly to the point. I feel like it warranted a truth bomb. It's very nice.
Think about
Mr.
it
Palmer.
though. If luck is going to happen, it had a destination to the luck. Like, but if you're in a place of like, I don't know where I'm going, there's no luck. Like, luck doesn't happen. Luck happens because there is something that we want that we have set our sights on. Like, I need a job, so I need some luck. Okay, the universe at least knows to bring luck in because you want the job. Or I want this person to, hopefully I'm lucky and I want this person to really like me, or I want this relationship to go well, or I want this. Okay, it knows. Like, if these jewel pods are freaking crazy because they come off and, like, you know, you're always checking, like, how much do I have left in my nicotine? Because, like, I really have cut my cigarettes down like 3/4. It's crazy. But what's crazy about these things is, like, I have to go into my bag and go, do I have any more? Am I lucky? But at least I'm going to my bag to look, right? You know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, there's no luck anywhere, ever. Ever. Your overall card is the Hangman reversed. Oh, this is you learning to get out of this stuck position. Look at safe travel is the challenge with the Hangman. Yeah, you can't just be a hanging Chad anymore. We can't just have a Bush and Gore debate for years. It had to be done. It had to be picked. And at one point, you know, it just was. Doesn't matter at the fact of who won or whatever. I mean, history's been shaped the way it is. But, you know, kind of sitting around and not knowing and kind of continuing to do that is actually keeping you in a position of missing out on a lot of amazing fortune and good luck. Although I think there's a fortune card in here, but the luck is like, luck can take you to any direction. Luck can take you to really positive things. And especially if you're clear on what you want, you have the aspect to actually get that fucking luck. We got the Leo Venus 11th house. Leo, wow. So, okay. Leo Venus is amazing. That's where it's at right now. and it's conjuncting the sun in your 11th house. This is actually what is literally astrologically happening for Libras. You have to ask yourself the question, in your relationships, do you have a best friendship, kinship? That's important for Libras, for love. 2, do you love your friends more than even lovers? Like, sometimes Libras get caught up into that where they start to love their friends more than the people that they're with. It's really weird because Leo rules the 11th for them. So it's almost like, if you want love, like, okay, know that your friends are loyal and always are there and you can always love them. But also, I think at the same time, like, how much of this love towards people outside of just romantic aspects, like, is inhibiting your ability to find love? And I think that's part of what the weird thing is you feel like you might lose people, you might lose having fun, you might lose going out, you might lose society. That's not true at all. Like, Libras will bail out any relationship if some person says, oh, you can't go do that in life. They will run, they will flee, they will do crazy things, because Venus loves to, you know, as you watch Venus's journey around the zodiac, like, you know, she always goes through positions where she gets her exaltation in Pisces, and then she comes into Aries where it's kind of demanding what she should wear, what she should look like, and she kind of is like, I want to look the way I want to look, but you're like telling me, oh no, fuck this shit. And then she comes into Taurus and she feels very beautiful and she puts on her own makeup the way she wants and the clothes that she wants. Then she comes into Gemini and she kind of becomes, well, she plays around, you know what I mean? Like, and she likes to conversate and she likes to be fun. Then she comes into Cancer and she feels safe and she wants to take a rest because that's been a lot. Oh my gosh. And then she comes into Leo. So actually, you know, the first part of the zodiac, Venus is really happy. And then she comes into love after she's gotten some rest and she's seen her values. She's seen her kinky sides, her Gemini stuff. She's seen the Aries of the demands of her, what she wants to be. And then she comes into her fall into Virgo after love. And it's like, reality. And if the reality is like this place that, you know, is so specific on how to be, Libras run. And then of course it comes into Libra where it's like, it's beautiful, relationship. What if the reality works? And that's the hard part for a Libra in a relationship. Does the reality work? Oh, it does. Okay, then we have a great relationship. And then it comes to Scorpio, it's detriment. And it's like, all right, I'm sexually invested. And, you know, but it could also be like maybe too much, or it could be like blocks, and then that blocks you from knowing where to go next. And then that's where Libras get confused a lot. Like, well, I'm connected and we've had sex, but we're in a relationship, but what's the whole block here then? Like, now you need to know where you want this to go. I don't know. And then, like, that's why Venus and Sag is very like, I don't know, I'm open for anything. It's like, well, we need to be a little clear. That's why Venus, when it comes to Capricorn, is like, you were open to a lot of things, but where are we motherfucking going? And that's why it has a hard time there. It's a, you know, it's like, and then it comes into Aquarius where it's like, oh, the whole world, it could be mine, actually. I figured out where I could go. And then it comes into Pisces where it's like, the imagination is real.
So if you were to give a little advice for someone that wanted to date a Libra, what do you think that'd be?
Number one,
what would you go with?
I would say
3
to
tips.
date a Libra, you have to, number one, help them show that you direct, like, not be like a, that you're not like directing the relationship, but that you have confidence in them. And you have confidence in also a direction. Libras like to follow people with direction. Like, they like a partner that's like, hey, let's do this. Let's do this together. And adding the whole together, like, we can do this. The whole we aspect is a very good thing with Libras. The other thing with Libras is they always get themselves caught up into like really weird traps in life because they have Virgo as their 12th house. So it's like really like usually about their realities. They get caught up in just like tangled messes all the time. So it's like they like problem solvers that can figure out their messes for them. So they kind of like a savior a little bit. So if you can kind of come into the position of a savior with a Libra relationship, like I can save you from this, I can save you from that, I can clean that up for you. But also setting that kind of tone of like, now I cleaned it up, let's not go back there, and showing that like we can get through this, then it makes them feel confident and makes them look at you and it makes them feel confident in themselves to figure out their life, and then they will be partnered with you forever.
How about if we can save it together instead of, you know, one party saving the other? Is it
Well,
not
that's I think
teamwork?
kind of what I'm saying is like you kind of initially show that we can do this, and then you're basically just showing them, even though they're doing it, but they feel like you're doing it. But it's just kind of like being like, see, look it, you don't have to do that, right? And then they just need a little push. That's all it is. Like, you know, we're pool people, so it's like some people just need to kind of be pushed in the pool, not like you just don't like push somebody in the pool, like get in the pool. It's just kind of like, oh, come on, let's go in the pool. Like, come on, like, see, like you're walking, you're doing, look, you're good,
So all you Libras out there, you just need a little push in the right
They
direction.
always need a push
in the right direction.
into everything. Libras need to be pushed into everything, and it's not like,
Well, it seems like they got that expansion on the horizon. So
yeah, and
all
once
you
they've been
Libras out
pushed
there,
enough in their
good
early
things
years,
coming.
you tend to see them whatever they got pushed in and they figured out, they don't need pushing anymore. But there's always some position that they need to be pushed into all the time. So it's like, okay, like maybe it might not be relationships anymore. Maybe it might be business, or maybe it might be their belief system, or maybe it might be how to communicate better, or whatever. There's something that, if you can come in as that person like, hey, let me, you'd be getting the fun card every day, you know what I mean, with Libra. Woo! And they like that connection. Also, the other thing is they love friendships. So if you've got a good circle of friends and you can involve them with friends, they love their friends. So you have to almost love their crew, their diplomat. So in order to be a diplomat, you need to have a big black book. They have a big black book. And it's like, kind of like how Pablo Francisco is like, ding, 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 I used to be with this guy and 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 this guy, and then I was with Rob and John and Ken and Drew, and then he went, like they kind of have that whole, like, I've been with everybody in the world kind of energy. Or they've been in just one relationship the whole time, but they've been talking to everybody outside of it. So it's like there's always going to be some part where they're involved with everybody. So unless you are willing to go through their shit and like go and meet their people and like go have a brunch with them or go with their girlfriends out or their friends or dudes that they like to hang out with, like you gotta like be willing to be social in their social circle. If you cannot do that, a Libra will axe you out.
Well, there we go, folks.
Hey, that's just from lots of experience. And if you know what, like I had a Libra, like I saved her from 3 DUIs in 3 or 4 weeks.
That's mind-blowing.
Mind blown.
Well, it seems like a good time, though, for all those Libras out there. Go explore a
Yeah,
little bit.
I love Libra energy, but
I'm
the
about
only
those
time
Libras
my heart's
also.
been ever really hardcore broken, which good thing it happened to me young, was a Libra.
Well, hopefully we can avoid that going on.
I would say, and this is maybe from personal experience, but I'm an astrologer, I've noticed that Libras have broken more people's hearts than Leos. Maybe not true. I think Leos break the most people's hearts, but I think Libra comes in a good second. Because you gotta remember that Leo rules love and Libra rules relationships, so they're in sextile, so, but when it comes to heartbreak, yeah, Leos can break people's hearts, like when, it's like, oh God, like you're not inspiring anymore, or you're not wanting to have fun, or you start to become too serious about like life too much, and whatever, you don't know how to like find vitality and positivity and keep the fucking party going. Like even though we might be in a relationship, you can still keep the party going. I'm gonna be 90 years old, I'll still be DJing and fucking puffing a jewel if I have to, whatever. Maybe they'll have some IV fucking like clean green nicotine. I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah, it always blew my mind the people that just like kind of fall off and then just start living their life in a depressing manner and just extremely bored with everything that they're doing. I just don't get it.
We got the Pisces. Pisces. The fish, fly like the fish. I mean, I can go on, honestly, for hours about any zodiac sign and how to date them. All right, Pisces, what are we doing? What camera are we on? We're on this camera? Okay, Pisces, you ready for your reading? We're waiting for Craig. It takes a minute. These graphics are hard. He's got to move graphics. It's a lot of energy to do this
Well,
live
also, I've noticed that it's a little hard on the iPhone to see the verbiage on the graphics that I created, so I'm adding that little
I saw that.
white
That's beautiful.
aspect on it.
And he's doing that live, everybody. By the way, we do the show live, so if you're watching the recording of this, like, you should be joining us live. because the chat room is always on fire. Jewel Smoke Helmet. I literally just go to the chat room and Jewel Smoke Helmet. Friggin', I can't be so serious all the time, right? Date advice from David. That would be a great series for us to film. Drink the blue drink. I do drink that blue drink, you know? All right, let's see what's going on with the Pisces. Earth element stability. Pisces definitely coming into a place where, you know, this is a reevaluation of what is, you know, I mean, we could use the stable card. Like, yeah, Earth is stable, but Earth is also what is manifesting and what is creating. So if you're single, like, where is energy that is creating for you? If you're in a relationship, like, okay, are things really stable? Are things really, you know, feeling like you got some sort of groundwork to build from? So there's a lot of foundational aspects looking at relationships this week for Pisces. If you're single and you're very lonely, which Pisces can isolate very deeply, yeah, this is going to force you to kind of go, yeah, you need something, right? You need to kind of step up, especially with Neptune in their sign and especially with Uranus coming retrograde in their third house. This is going to be definitely kind of shaking the ground and seeing like what's really stable and what's not. And giving you the facts of that. So there's going to be a little bit of interesting aspects here. We did get the veiled card as the challenge. Oh, and it's so funny because I was saying like they kind of can hold themselves back or isolate. I think the challenge is that you're not revealing everything and you're kind of hiding. And I think a lot of this hiding is because, you know, maybe you're not feeling stable in yourself. Maybe you're not feeling stable about where you sit in relationship aspects in your life. And it quite possibly could be as well, this veiled position is, you know, it's just not ready to fully step out until it feels emotionally stable. So maybe if you have a partner that's really not giving you confidence or giving you self-worth, that's going to be a clear indication there's a problem. I would say that this is definitely some relationship trouble for this week. Oh, that Pramanic Astrology is so nice. He always donates so much. It's insane. I love you, brother. Thank you so much. You are beyond gracious, and we are beyond gracious, and you are beyond thoughtful and a wonderful person. That's so nice of you. Thank you very much. I hope you're not a Pisces. Spiritual advice is the integrity card. Ooh. So what if the integrity is to just show your true self? Show us what is going on. Show us who you are, because that's where the stability lies. So there's a lot of integrity tests, stress tests on your relationships and in yourself if you're single about, you know, what is holding back, or possibly if you're dating somebody, like, and the challenge might be maybe they're not revealing their self. So I don't want to put this like projection on just Pisces themselves. Like, maybe you're dating somebody who's veiled and you're trying to get behind there. Will really look like, are they really that stable? Do they really got something going on? And with the integrity aspect, do they have integrity? And this is also going to apply back on you, and this is going to apply on partnerships as well. The overall card is the world. You need to get back out there in the world. Having the veiled with the world card, this is intense. Like, you have a whole world out there, but you are holding yourself back, and it's like, what the hell? It's like, come on, step out to the world. Look at this is totally opposite. To have your challenge is the veiled card, but then the overall amazing card is the world card, the last major arcana. She is naked. She is veiled. Like, there's like these two oppositions, this polarization right now in your life. Like, you need to be free. You need to connect with the world. You need to see that it's when you free yourself and you expose fully who you are that you are. But that's hard for Pisces, and this is kind of a veiled position here that's kind of intense. So, you know, what do you got to lose? Like, I know it's a vulnerable position, but it also is what it brings greatness and integrity and something that actually is manifested in a great way. You did get Mercury in the 6th house. Ooh, okay, so that's kind of interesting. And then you got it in Scorpio. A lot of Mercury Scorpio stuff coming up. So yeah, you got to look at your reality and actually see if it's really you're receiving back fully what the reality is that you are in, or are you committed so much to reality that maybe you need some re-examining, maybe you need to do more detective work in yourself and your day-to-day life and really seeing if it's actually bringing forth the passion and the energy and the drive and the connection that you want. What are steps that you can figure out right now, factual steps, that you can readjust your reality so you can actually receive more in your life. This means adjustments. So adjustments in your veiled, adjustments in stability, adjustments in the integrity that you have for yourself of honoring yourself and having what you want, or the integrity in yourself of whether or not that you need to make adjustments in your day-to-day life by calling out the truth on certain things that are going to be very specific. And this is a little bit opposite of being in your Piscean world. This is like being in deep reality this week, intensely, in order to get you back up to the place that you love to be.
You gotta be confident, Pisces. Gotta be confident in that path that you've chose, that path that you're walking. Make the decisions that you feel you need to make, but stand true in them. And you can't be afraid. I mean, if you're holding yourself back for so long that you're actually not experiencing anything, that's not healthy, and it's not going to get you anywhere in the long run.
Well, you know, I was going to say that Pisces are confident, especially when it comes to their imaginations, their intuition. They're confident in a lot of areas that a lot of other people aren't. But, you know, when it comes to reality, that's the kind of harder space, you know. So this is definitely the confidence to step into reality. If you're so good with the imaginative realms, the spirit realms, and the overly beautiful realms. Like, reality is beautiful too, but I think that that's a hard part for you to see. But that's also what this reality is like learning to bring the ethereal into this reality. And so this can be great work if you actually start to make adjustments in your reality to bring that in, instead of just living in it in a virtual reality in your own self.
Would it be something like tapping into that true self-worth? Did they know?
Yeah, and I mean, they have Chiron in the second house, so there's definitely, and Uranus went through there, so there's been a lot of, you know, self-worth stuff, body stuff, like physical body, like, am I really good looking enough? My weight, am I too skinny, am I too big? Like, there's a lot of that stuff going on in Pisces world with Uranus that went through there, and now Chiron, so it's like a weird thing, because Uranus said, hey, like, you know, this is who you are, like, accept it and move forward into the world with it. But Chiron is kind of like, should I really show myself fully? Like, can I really project myself out there? Like, there's a lot of weird energy with that. And just go follow Pisces in the media or the world. Like, you're not going to see a lot of them out there right now, which is kind of interesting. I mean, Joel Osteen's out there, but he also plays a lot of old regurgitated stuff. So, like, you know, like there's like, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of other Pisces, but, you know, when I go on Entertainment Tonight, or even when I'm doing all the stuff for 17, I really haven't done too many Pisces. I did Justin Bieber, good example, right? Justin Bieber, like, he's out there, but he's kind of not, you know, like, he's kind of dealing with a lot of his internal stuff right now. He's, you know, dealing with a lot of, you know, trying to reflect on his image, changing his image, going through spirituality, going through, you know, so there's a lot of, like, he's twerking his reality, like Miley Cyrus right now. She's a Sag, but just saying that the twerking. All right, I don't want to cheat. I actually was like, I didn't see him, because you actually do a good job. You actually, like, fold them in half.
I do what I can. But, I'm here for the people.
Capricorns. Cappies. Whew. It's hot up in here. It's hot. I'm actually really tired. Let's do this. Well, we're waiting for Craig. What does the chat room have to say? Why does my Pisces lie to me? Everybody, any sign can lie to you. David talks to Teal Swan. Amazing stuff. I did do a thing with Teal. It was like 5 years ago, though. Perhaps a party with girls in white dresses with a guest guitar player. I haven't thrown the party up yet. I haven't seen anybody really on a party yet. Interesting comments here.
That'll give them a little juice right there. They need that T-Rex life.
They do. They need that T-Rex life. What are you smoking?
Thin mint.
Vape. Menthol.
Menthol jewel.
It's just vapor.
He has been good. He's cut down a lot on cigarettes.
A lot. And you would
he's
call me
been
he's a
doing good job.
Scorpio.
It's true.
Like I used to,
Yeah.
I'll admit, like my whole life, I quit for 5 years. Actually, it was 6 years. And when I got back in 2018 smoking, like it's not like I'm like I'll have a smoke with you. It's like, and it's weird that because and I was so against vape. I'm like, it's so unnatural. It's so blah, blah, blah. I swear this thing helped. I mean, I race and I'm able to breathe better. I mean, you might still hear me and you'll be like, oh, that guy's throat, he needs cleared. I have a gnarly throat chakra. I got a lot of in my human design, and I'm a moon in Taurus. So, and I always got that raspy voice. I got that George Clooney voice. He's a Taurus. All right, Cappies. Or Mel Gibson, Capricorn. Well, Mel smoked for a lot of times when he was in Lethal Weapon. Wow.
Fucking Chantix.
yeah, fucking Chantix, bro. Fucking quit smoking. I quit fucking smoking with Chantix. And Capricorns are quitting smoking with the lunar eclipse change card as their first one. Boop. Capricorn, this is a major change that needs to happen in your life emotionally, especially in relationships this week. This also could be cataclysmic, gnarly change. So, of course it's always for the positive, but it is lunar eclipse. And I don't know if we can look at this card one more time, but she looks like she's out of The Ring, the movie. Ah! No, but there's something about lunar eclipses, and you know what? I think again, and you know what? Especially the last lunar eclipse was in what sign? Craig's like, I don't know. I film it, but fuck, it was in Capricorn. So
that'd be Capricorn, Bob.
That'd be Capricorn
for 400.
500. So this is gnarly this week, especially with Mercury finishing in Cancer, and that's relationships. You've had a retrograde here. This is a major change. Now, if you've been single and everything and you were trying to figure it out, this could be like, whoa, something comes in your life to really come in that's faded and changed. But I feel that there's a lot of relationship stuff going on. I'm putting the relationship trouble card up.
I was trying to delay that relationship trouble as long as I could.
Hey, it's okay.
I'm holding on for those caps out there in the world.
Somebody just said, why are you not mentioning the Lionsgate? Well,
I saw that. I was about to ask you that, actually.
I was about to say that I covered that in Deep Astrology last week. That I think Lionsgates are, that every time the sun's in Leo and the new moon, it's a Lionsgate. It's the lion is the gateway. Leo is the gateway. I don't know. People make a lot of these. It comes from other things, I know, but people are making these more modern. This black moon and this blue moon and this red moon and this blood moon and this. It's like the fucking full moon. It's a fucking new moon. That's it. In what sign? What degree? What's it aspecting? Just go from the astrology. Stop getting into all these gates and all this shit. I mean, gene keys and gates are a different thing, but I mean, this whole creating, if it's rare, it's almost like creating this whole thing. Now I do it when it's a real deal. I'll do this portal to here, or, but I didn't even call the last eclipse thing a portal. I just called it a Master Horoscope Presentation. But or stepping through the darkness. That's a 5-year period I'm talking about that I have calculated on my own of what I see in the astrology. So whenever you see this Lionsgate shit, people are doing the same, but it's then it becomes everybody saying it. Oh yeah, the Lionsgate. It's hello, it's always motherfucking Lionsgate in Leo. Welcome to Leo. You're with the Leo King. There's fucking knights, and I'm here, and you want me to be a lion? Fucking there, you got some fucking lion. There's a Lionsgate. Challenge 4. Wow, this is going to be a gnarly week for Capricorns. for relationships. Spiritual cleansing as the challenge card. You are afraid of the change that you need to make in relationships, whether that's clearing in yourself and also if you are in a relationship, clearing some deep relationship stuff that you have put to the side. It's like the trash has become full. There's nothing worse than, especially here in the summer, we've been dealing with fruit flies for some reason. To get the fruit flies out of here, we had to do the old school fruit fly trap, cup with some cellophane, with some holes, and put an old banana peel.
Well, yeah, we put a chunk of my banana that they were eating.
Yeah, and then they all come through there and then they get stuck in there. But they just multiply like crazy, and this is and I'm picking this up in relationships for Capricorns a lot. This is where it's there is just so much trash built up. There is just so much, and it's trying to just positively avoid it. We can just get through this next thing. This is a lunar eclipse forcing the change happening. The spiritual cleansing card. Your spiritual advice is contemplation. That, instead of looking at it from this, I can get through this, I can accomplish anything, it's well, maybe you need to start contemplating what to really change and clean. I think that maybe you've been avoiding the contemplation, or maybe you've been doing the contemplation, but you haven't been acting on the contemplation. The advice is one thing to contemplate, but, it's interesting, it says solace right there. Bringing light to the contemplation that's been going on is going to come up this week, very intense. Your overall card you are getting out of literally toxic energies. Holy cow. 8 of Swords reversed on top of spiritual cleansing. I can't make this shit up. You all know I don't make this shit up in life. These cards just come the way they come. I have shuffled all 4 of these decks lunar eclipse, change, 8 of Swords reversed, clearing out and getting out of the toxic waters.
What you been swimming in, Cap?
I would say that I'm hanging out with Mel Gibson, smoking cigarettes with Tiger Woods.
I mean, that'd be a party.
Those are all Capricorn.
That'd be a party.
I love Mel Gibson. I like Mel Gibson a lot. He was one of my favorite
He lost
actors.
track there towards the end, but I mean...
Yeah, I'm talking about as an actor. I thought, honestly, Mel Gibson, I'd put him in my top 5 favorite actors. I enjoy a lot of his movies. Yeah, I loved Lethal Weapon. I like old school. I like 80s movies. Yeah. Lethal Weapon was great. And his character, I relate with a lot. I'm kind of the fucking, if I was a cop, I'd be like him. But then, The Patriot was amazing. I mean, Braveheart was amazing. Fucking, even Payback was great. God, he's done a lot of shit. But even, I love that movie, What Women Want, where that
was a good one.
That one where he's trying to do the shit because the girl becomes the CEO.
The marketing.
And fucking he starts to hear what women want. Even that one. He was great in that one. I like Mel Gibson, so. I'm old school. All right. Oh. Aye. So it is a weird reading for the Capricorns. We got, is that 9th or it's 9th? Saturn exalted in Libra. So Saturn's at very strong position here, and it's major decision choices in relationships about the 9th house, about where things are going in the future, about looking at the belief systems and seeing if the beliefs and seeing if the trajectory in the right direction, and that you need to be observant. You're having to, you're going to have to balance out the honest truth of what has been shown to you, and you have to have control of your beliefs and make sure that those beliefs are really looking in all directions, and especially the directions that you're avoiding. Oh, poor Caps.
At least you gave them the message.
Hey, I'm
broke
trying.
it down to them. They know
if you
now.
think about the astrology, I'm going to give Caps this extra little bit here. If you think about the astrology, this is a lot of 8th house energy for them. This is all this Leo is 8th house, which is Scorpio. which is change, which is getting to the bottom of things, which is getting to the truth, which is intense. And then Mercury's coming out of its, shadow. It's not out of shadow yet, but it's still in shadow in their relationship house. And then if we add to the aspect that lunar eclipse that was just, almost 3 weeks ago, and then the moon's going to be in Scorpio, and it's going to cover their 11th house, and then this Jupiter is coming direct in their 12th house in Sag, and then Uranus is going to retrograde in their 5th house of love. So Uranus especially is unpredictable, and it's the last thing that you want to happen. It feels like the universe is smacking you fucking, like falling, like slipping on a banana peel. But maybe when you slip on the banana peel and you hit your head, if you were a blind person, you actually get your sight back or something. It actually is something that positively can happen. But I think that, Capricorns are coming into probably the gnarliest of all the people in the zodiac of all relationships, just astrologically and confirmed through the tarot. That was heavy.
And there you have it.
Please don't forget more signs.
We're going to do 12 signs today, I believe.
We always do 12 signs.
We're going to do 12, I think. Is there a 13th or 14th? Should we just stop it now?
Depends on which system you're
Should we
using.
cut our losses? Is everybody over it? Should we go home?
It's Leo time.
Oh, and we have our Leo question today as well.
We'll answer the question while I'll answer the question while you're getting the Leo stuff ready.
So, this Leo wrote us, and she has been in a relationship for 7 years. For 5 of those years, she has been in a relationship with another individual as well on the side.
Is she married?
She didn't say that. I thought that she did, but once I reread it, it says she's been in a long-term relationship for at least 7 years now. And she knows that she needs to speak the truth, but she feels like she's choking, and she can't get the words out, and she just doesn't know what to do. 7 years. Wasting
So
this
she has
person's
problem
time.
telling the guy she's with
Yeah. Insane.
about the guy she's been with for 5 years out of the 7
I
years
know.
that she's been in a relationship.
Mind
with.
blowing.
Okay.
Mind blowing.
And this is another Leo.
This is another Leo.
Okay. I'm going to start with, let's forget about the 7 years and the 5 years. Let's start with that you're a Leo. So you're a queen and you have a kingdom. And what happens to kingdoms when you start to have the side fling? 1, you have easier chances of being killed. Okay. 2, the kingdom starts to become harder to run because you're trying to keep the king pleased, but at the same time, you're trying to please yourself in another direction, which is not pleasing your full heart. You're torn between 2 places. So your heart is split in half, your kingdom is split in half, and the kingdom just starts running down. And so, what was her last line? That it's bringing her to, not tears, but
She's just getting choked up. She says she
Choked
can't
up.
get the words out.
So-
she wants us to stay or to leave. She does. Oh,
it gets
start new. Seems like she might be a little afraid of being alone, or something along that bullshit line.
Okay, so
I'm not a fan of people being in relationships and having side pieces. If you guys haven't caught that drift yet.
yeah, we get that, Scorpio. Let's just stay with this poor Leo that's going through this. So
I don't know. She might need to get hammered a little bit.
So, 1 is, as a Leo, when you come out with truth and you come out with your truth, everything works out because you are the sun. When the sun can come out fully, it's a bright day. It's a dark day, and the reason why the 4th house of Scorpio is for Leos is because when your emotions are hidden, so every king needs, or queen needs, a dungeon to go down to cry it out, because if you show that to the kingdom, they think you're a weak leader. And vulnerability is something that Leos actually do much better when they actually show it. So instead of being in this dungeon that you're in, step out, show it. show it to to both partners, because I'm sure there's things, the guy that's been around for 5 years, that you're telling him about whatever the guy for 7 years you're with. It's like you're telling two stories, and actually you're telling the stories they both want to hear, but they're both not hearing the real story. So they're both getting cheated on. And so by being real with both of them about telling them how you really feel and what's really been going on, the only thing from there is up. Because one, the guy at 5 years is going to be like, well, I still want to stay with you. I like you, and I understand maybe why you said that. Or he's going to be like, you know what, I thought you were being this way, and then he leaves. The guy at 7 years, we don't know. We don't know how he is. We don't know what is he doing. We don't know any of this stuff. So, but by bringing it all out to the truth, it cleans your whole entire energy field. And being a Leo, this has been eclipses in the 12th house. It's been clearing energy out that is weird, because Leos cannot have weird energy or they're not comfortable, and you're uncomfortable right now. So get all this out and think about it. Like, are you afraid to sleep in like a really comfortable bed, even if it's alone? But usually that means if there's a bed alone, let's say if you end up alone, the universe is like, no kingdom is ruled without a queen or a king next to it, if it's a queen. And even in chess. So you're afraid right now of like, and right now you're having trouble of even calling who's the king. So you're playing a game right now where the whole game is about understanding where the king is and taking down the king. But let's look at it as a positive direction. You're not here to take out the king, you're here to identify the king and own the king. But you're playing other pieces. The queen can move anywhere she wants, and that's what you're doing. But you're not using it in the effect of using it properly to be able to move into a position wherever that you want in life, but one that makes sure that you have the best kingdom, you have the greatest love, because this is not love, right? Like, sure, there's love. You are loving two people, you are doing this, but it's not love when there is no honesty, loyalty, or integrity with that heart. That's what chivalry is. And chivalry comes with a price, which means responsibility. And responsibility of the heart is the number one thing that keeps us alive in our life, is that heart has the responsibility to, it's the only organ that continues to pump. It doesn't stop. Other organs shut down when we sleep. Even our brain basically will still operate like on a limp mode and use a chemical to actually put all the body to sleep, but not the heart. And so if you're going to sleep your heart out, of course you're going to feel uncomfortable. Of course you're going to feel like things aren't going the right way. And so I think it's very important for you to be clear, be honest, let the sun out and see what's there. And don't be afraid of being alone, because actually it sounds like a better situation's on the horizon if you're in a situation like this.
What, the situation that she put herself in by screwing over one individual? I mean,
Well,
I'm
it's just-
assuming that the person of
sure,
5
we
years
could look
knows,
at,
but
I'm not getting into the karmic stuff with her and if she's a bad person or not, or guilty,
Oh.
because I'm not trying to do that.
I'm not saying
I'm
she's a bad person, but I think you let her off a little easy right there.
I'm not, well, I mean, you know what? We all get into weird situations in life, right?
Yeah,
So,
but for 5 years, I mean, that's a little bit more than just a weird situation when you're bringing something. It's not like, oh, I met this individual at a club and we had a couple too many drinks and I was in an argument with so-and-so and I went home with this person and we did that.
Okay, so
Boom.
it's a good example is, you're right, because like, let's look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example, with Maria Shriver, and what came out how many years later with the maid and a child? So,
They looked identical to him.
Yeah, I mean, and look at his life. He ended up, after that, even though Arnie's coming back, did you see another Terminator's coming out in November? I'm pretty stoked because I love the Terminator series. But I think what's interesting is he also had a heart attack, I think it was last year. And, Arnold's had a crazy life, but it was that point when it all kind of came up. He did kind of feel like the longer you go, the worse it gets. Because at least, I don't know her age or anything. Arnold, this came out to him, I think, in his late 60s when this came out for him. So, if you're still like younger than that, like you have time to still go build another beautiful relationship if it doesn't work out. You have nothing to lose here. You only have anything more beautiful to gain. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, you're just going to look on a joke the longer that you let that go on, so you should nip that shit in the butt.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
And
Figure out what
a
you
Leo
want.
that
Move on with
gets
your life.
into any sort of, well, it's weird. I don't know many Leos, including myself. Like, I cannot cheat on somebody and build a emotional relationship with somebody else. Like, I will just break up with the person I'm with
Fuck no.
to go be with somebody else. Like, because I'm like loyal.
Mind blowing.
Like that. A lot of Leos have this loyalty thing and chivalry thing. So the ones that do it, it like takes them away from their positive energy, and they drop into a negative zone, and the universe kind of kicks them in the ass really hard for it. So, you know, it's like.
On that note, if you have any questions that you would like directed towards us, you could email deeplovetarot@gmail.com, and we will get back to you if you make it worth it.
Yeah. Somebody just mentioned that the sound was off, but I think we're on. All right. I'm clearing that energy before this reading. Woo! For Leos, because I'm a Leo myself, like I don't need any of that in here. Like, everybody knows I am a free man. I am divorced. Like, nope. So I don't need any of that in my life right now. All right. I even cleared it that way.
And thank you for that email, Miss Leo, as well.
Yeah, and I know, like, Craig's Scorpio, so he's going to call out the stinger, and I'm a Leo, so I'm trying to help out fellow royalty here. And just look at King Henry VIII, you know, like, you know, or, you know, it's like there's just, doesn't go well. Leos. The Cancer card. Definitely a time for Cancers, or for Leo energy to feel love, to feel the nurturing, to feel nurtured, to feel love, to feel the happiness in life. So this is a good card because I think that Leos kind of want to feel also maybe the family vibe, or the vibe of like feeling whole. That's what Cancer does. So this is about feeling. I think that Leos want to feel. There's been a lot of energy in Cancer that has cleared out a lot for Leos. And so this week is a very big week of being able to start to feel again, to start to put out your feelings in love, to start to come into a space where you can actually receive the feelings, have feelings in your life. That's what is the backbone for Leo as the 12th house of their spirituality and so forth. So this week is definitely a great week for finding some security and finding something that you can feel about that feels good. Your challenge card this week is the power card. So you're not losing your power by feeling. And I think that might be the challenge, is like, oh, I've got all this power right now in my life. If I go feel over here, I'll lose it or something. It's like, no. I think that this is realizing that there is more power in feeling to give you the life to do something. Because I think that Leos can sometimes take power in their own hands and their own self and do all this powerful shit. But it's like, unless there's a positive and beautiful feeling behind it, like, good example is like, as a Leo, I know, like, I will go to the moon and back or anywhere in the universe for love on a fucking 1 millisecond phone call or anything. Like, we will drive millions of miles. We will hop on a plane. We will do anything for love. Like, we will just be like, yeah. And when you have that feeling behind you, anything is possible. But maybe the power that you've been accessing hasn't been coming from true feeling, and so it's actually not power. And so this week, relationships and love are teaching you, if you feel, you'll have power. But if you don't feel, you won't have power. And that's something that needs to happen. And you need to feel, and maybe you're having lacking, maybe also with the power, maybe you've been feeling powerless because you haven't been feeling. I would say that is a big part. That you haven't been feeling as much as your power because you don't have that feeling, and that's that life force that Leo needs to feel. So if you're in a relationship and the feelings aren't there and the comfort's not there and you're not feeling in your power, you're definitely in the wrong space. If you're single and you're feeling powerless, like, a lot of it is like because maybe you do need to start to feel. Maybe you still need to bring in more feeling into your life. And the healing energy. This is a big week for Leos to heal a lot of the past and a lot of things that have been going on by feeling and by actually realizing that you come into your power through the healing powers of love. So I think that that's pretty interesting. I don't think that it's like a party week. I don't think that, it's trouble. I just think it's more like allowing yourself to feel and to come into this beautiful, sensual, and really that's where you get your power from. Like the lion likes to be tamed, it likes to be pet, and that's when it purrs. And if you're a lion that's not purring, if you're not getting your purrs in, like there's a fucking problem. So believe it or not, the healing power is in that. And that's what gives Leo the force to go shine bright, to show off. Leos like to show off to love. They like to show off for their lover, even when they're in a relationship. It's not like, lots of people get in relationships with this imagination of who they are, and then they get them. And then it kind of changes. Leos, like, we continue to always want to impress you. Like, we continually want to show off, like, the whole time. Like, we want to do the whole show and dance the whole time. So, this is a great week for teaching you that by finding that feeling, allowing that feeling in, and it will heal you to do that. And your overall, wow, look at that. 10 of Cups, the ultimate card of love and happiness, is definitely here for you. So I would say that there's a party on that one if you're willing to feel this stuff out. But this is where everything can come together. This is the best card in the deck in love readings, especially when it comes to everything and joy coming together, like feelings, like connection, relationship. The kids are dancing, they're looking up. I mean, there really is, there's an ecstasy about this. And I'd throw the party on that one if you can pass this test.
So would you say it's a good week for all those Leos out there to kind of reveal their desires or hidden agendas?
I would say it's more about revealing your feelings and be willing to feel. Like, accept feelings of others too. And I think that that's a vulnerable place for Leos. Leos are the most scared of rejection. So if you get rejected, hey, at least you threw the feeling out there. At least you know where you had the power and the courage to do it. That's why I like the timid lion in what is it called? In Wizard of Oz. Like, he's lacking courage. It's because he's timid, because his feelings are timid, and he's feared of rejection, of showing his heart, his courage. So Leo gains its courage by showing its feelings, its 12th house, its connection to the divine that way. And so this is actually allowing feeling. Leos can block feeling a lot when it comes to like, oh, I'm doing this right now or whatever. But there's been a lot of that's been cleared out with these eclipses. So it's interesting. The dice are saying the moon in the 5th house in Virgo, that the emotions of love can be part of your reality, and to make them part of your reality and put that into your schedule. It's almost like Leos haven't been putting the emotion of happiness and love into their day-to-day lives. And this is a purification. We got the healing card, we got Virgo, we got Cancer, Moon, and the 5th house with this, even this 10, but like this is kind of crazy. We got literally Moon, 5th house power, and 10 of Cups, definitely. And this Virgo healing and this Cancer feeling. Interesting. Well, I'm down for that.
Yeah, it's good. It kind of goes back where I was saying I felt that release of love. I think that people are actually, they're in a lot better spots than everybody wants to believe, kind of. I feel like there's a lot of people are talking about like, oh, it's not a good time for this, or there's so much heartache out there. And yeah, there are situations that are fucked up going around. But I think for the most part, if people actually just kind of put themselves out and communicate and talk about what they want to do and what they're trying to get out of this life, I think that there's a lot of receptivity going around. And change. People want to make that change for a better life.
Yeah, and I think anybody who's still kind of in weird situations after these eclipses, they're dealing with the hardest shit. Because like, it was obvious through the eclipses, nobody wanted to deal with them. And then now it came out, and like I did a reading day for somebody, and it's just like yeah, the Sun and Venus are conjuncting this weekend into next week. Like, this is the last call with Uranus stationary and Jupiter ready to come direct. Like, this week is like where you're at red zone, but at least in red zone, like there's a parachute, there's always an ejection seat at the last second, but we're gonna get to the zone past the red zone here in relationships in general, where if you're in a weird situation right now and it ain't fucking working and you're fucking, you're like in a weird space, it's not supposed to be in a weird space. This is what this Cancer energy was trying to do. And guess what? Like, good luck. We got Aries next. Aries. Everybody's all, no more weird stuff for me. This is an interesting comment. I don't want to come here again, but that goes against my beliefs. I don't know how to trust masculine again, abandoned to the core. So,
it's an internal struggle right there.
Well, it's a one, and this is through psychology. Now, I'm not a clinical psychologist or anything, I'm an astrologer, but in psychology, when you use a blanket statement like, I cannot trust men, or I cannot trust women, it's a reflection on not what anybody's done to you, it's yourself. And because blanket statements like that, one, are definitely like, that is not the natural order of how things work in reality, in alchemy. Like, there is no feminine energy or masculine energy in the universe that is denying themselves of each other all the time. Like, anybody, any like conscious energy source that is doing that has to look at itself. It's not what's happened, it's what you went into or how you created the situations that happened. And it's within you and the changes and the responsibilities that you need to have in yourself. And owning that, like a blanket statement like, I don't trust women or I don't trust men, automatically is a deep troubled energy within yourself of your own self. And nobody abandons anybody this life. That means you're abandoning yourself. And that you relied on those people to hold you up, live your life for you, and not even know how to have your own sovereign self. So I don't know what you think about that, Craig, but
yeah. This whole life is a give and take. It's a complete give and take. And there's going to be sides, there's going to be individuals, there's going to be males that are going to harm you, there's going to be females that are going to harm you, there's going to be, whatever else is going on. Possibly some alien babies that pop out. You never know, but you can't live your life in fear, and you definitely can't write off a whole area of this life that you're going to experience with people. It's going to cut out a lot of the beauty, and you're just going to land there sitting by yourself, maybe with a grip load of cats or a grip load of dogs, but at the end of the day, you're going to be alone by yourself, just your thoughts. So you got to experience this life. I've said it before, the whole notion that time is irrelevant. It's not. The people that we're here with right now, the consciousness that we're feeling even in this exact moment is not going to be here. When we finish this show, that consciousness that we all experience through this, couple hours that we're on here, it's gone. It's gone.
It's gone.
So you need to live your life actually in like peace, find that peace and happiness.
Well, so in the chat, people are saying, like, some people are like, if you're, abused, like, that was them abusing you, it's never your fault. Like, and I agreed, there's shit that happens in life, right? Like out of nowhere. Like, what the fuck? Like I've had a gun pulled on me once, you know what I mean? Like, or, like, just random shit. Like, we were here last year, and somebody threw a brick through the window, like, what the fuck was going on? But I remember the time in my life, I was going through a lot of crazy relationship shit. I was not in a good space at that moment in my life. And it was like the universe was sending me a signal Like literally, like what the fuck are you doing with your life right now? Like what is going on? Like there was a lot of weird shit, and I was exactly the same day I had the gun pulled on me too. And you have to look at the actions you're doing, the energies you're connecting with. Like, I agree that, like, sure, it's not your fault when shit happens or people, and especially abuse or come after you. I mean, I'll use an example because people are going to say, well, you've never maybe been abused sexually or anything like that. Like, I will admit I have not been abused sexually, but maybe I have in other ways, like with, you know, I don't know, people trying to take advantage of me or people telling me a story to try and get me and use me or whatever. But I have been abused physically when I was in the military. I was hazed. Like I had no choice. Like I'm 18 years old, I go to boot camp, I go to my A school, I become a rescue swimmer, I get out of rescue swimming school, I go to F-18s, and literally the first day that I get into the line check, it's called, where basically the plane captains are, where we go out onto, whether it's, there's always a line check on a ship and there's always a line check on base, on the flight deck. But long story short is when I got in there, I had 12 guys, like 13 guys, like put me on a fucking table, rip open my coveralls, put hydraulic fluid all over my stomach and start beating the shit out of my stomach till where it was getting cuts. They took belts out, they fucking were doing it, and the hydraulic fluid was pouring down my fucking, like all my ribs and everything and my abs and shit. And you can't like get pissed at them, you can't, you know, cry. Like being hazed is a big test of like this dominant kind of power against you. So I understand where, like, maybe in a different way, but I'm trying to relate here. And all I'm trying to say is that at that moment, shit happens like that. It fucking sucks. It hurt like a motherfucking bitch. It was traumatizing. Long story short, when they were done, I bit my fucking lip. My coveralls were broken. By the way, I only have like 2 pairs and they're like $100. And like in the military, like you got to buy it yourself if you break it. And like, you got to get fitted for it and you got to get your name embroidered on it. And it's a bitch. And you know, like this is how I'm starting my first day. And anyways, it was like at midnight too. And long story short, I bit my lip. I walked into the other room and then I went into the hangar and I went to the bathroom and I washed my face and I cried a little bit. And then I fucking was washing the hydraulic fluid off in the bathroom, in the shower, like fucking in the flight hangar. And I was getting all the hydraulic fluid off and it hurt so bad because the cuts were fucking deep and the blood was everywhere. And it was just, and hydraulic fluid is red. So it's like red and I don't know what is blood and what is hydraulic fluid anymore. And now I'm questioning if I'm gonna survive. I'm questioning a lot of things. But anyway, I was able to take a bunch of paper towels and I just fucking like paper toweled myself. I took duct tape from the electronics guys, like electric tape, and put it around. And I fucking just did that with paper towels. And then I put on a t-shirt, a white t-shirt. And then I fucking took my coveralls and I was able to, I forgot what I got. I think it was like, what do you call it? A paper clip? Like I took a paper clip. Oh no, like, you know, like the, I don't know.
Safety pin?
Safety pin. And I safety pinned the top. And I walked back in there and I acted like nothing happened. And then they fucking all rose me up and said, you're the man, you passed and all this shit. And I was like, wait, what? So I know it might be a weird situation, but like the whole test, and it was a universal test too in a weird kind of way. And I don't know, this might sound fucking crazy, but it was like testing my reaction to things. Like, do I know how to accept when shit happens in the universe and turn it into something fucking positive? Like, I've had a lot of shit happen to me in my life. Like, I've been in jail. Like, I fucking have had crazy shit happen to me. And I've even, like, taken too much acid to where I couldn't even fucking process anything for, like, fucking a day. Like, literally fried the whole day. Like, I've taken more shrooms at one point in my life to where I couldn't even fucking, it was cartoon land times a million and seeing reptilians. I'm fucking terrified for my life. Like, I can't even describe the amount of terror there is in that moment. And I'm still here and I'm still moving forward. So shit happens and a lot of it is about understanding the emotional aspect, processing that, and then understanding the factual evidence and realizing that all of life, that there is positive doorways that can still open, even though this was a shitty moment. People during the Dust Bowl lost fucking the rain. They had to move fucking out west. Like there was no way to plant anymore. Fucking the Great Depression, there was more people ever than recorded history that fucking had no money, were living in small shitty places with horrible sanitary conditions and had to eat in a soup line every day. So shit happens, but people have to learn to move forward in this life. And it's very difficult. And whether you got to go through therapy, I have been in therapy for 4 years. I went through panic disorder, anxiety disorder, panic attacks for fucking years. ER panic disorder, like straight up in the emergency room, like fucking freaking out, like agoraphobia, didn't leave my house for 3 months. Like I'm telling you, I'm still here doing this shit though, and I'm still here doing it with a laugh on my face. And you just have to find a way, and you have to believe, and you have to trust in God, and you have to understand that God does throw us really crazy shit in order to make us better sometimes. And that is the understanding of if you're going to be in this tarot world, or you're going to be in this astrology world, or if you're going to be in the spiritual world, you have to realize that it is hermetic. It is based off Mercury. There is no emotion. It is a logical understanding, and this is why the Bible tries to push it away and a lot of stuff, because they want to get you in the emotional realm, because then they got you pulled in. But the truth is the truth, and this conscious world is about that you draw in experiences to learn how to grow, or to not learn to grow and get just the same message repeated back at you all the time. So that's my message for that. And the most impatient sign is waiting for their reading. Aries.
Those Aries.
All right.
Here's your time to shine.
Yes, Aries, Aries. Aries. All right. Neptune, sacrifice. So, I think that this card is definitely going to be a much more beautiful time for Aries, but you also might be letting go of something. So, Aries might be letting go of relationships that aren't working anymore, or they're having to sacrifice something in themselves to make things better. This could also be, if you're single, you might have to sacrifice something that you hold so dear to your soul in order for a relationship to try, or this could also be that there's a part of, you sacrificing, a little bit more understanding in your, sacrificing the inability to understand kind of what's happening and going with the flow of the universe. It's kind of ironic this card comes up. That's very Neptunian, learning to still go with the flow. Shit happens, high seas happen, storms happen, but how do you get through a storm? You don't barge through as hard as you can, and there's a part of it that learns to read the seas, And I think that this week you're gonna have to kind of navigate off your intuition, but there's something about loss this week, but it's a loss maybe in yourself, it's a loss maybe in a partnership, but it also can be a loss in something that's been blocking you from a beautiful, more love. I think it's actually a beautiful thing for you to have. You did get trust, so there's some trust issues going on, or this is you maybe even hiding kind of your true feelings. And so maybe actually, maybe the sacrifice is you having to come out with some sort of truth, or maybe you have to accept somebody's disloyalty or trust that has happened to you. This could play out either ways, but I think that the challenge is to trust in whatever's kind of the universe's natural order is doing to you, which could be a little bit difficult. So this is going to just be a very big trust test, especially with belief systems and especially with, how you're viewing things. Your spiritual advice card is patience. So this is definitely going to be a relationship trouble week. Dropping sprites. And so having this card is definitely saying that, having the patience for what you want in love right now comes from the sacrifices and the trust changes that you're going to have to make, and the ability to receive too, and also be honest and truly honest. Neptune can kind of facade things, but with the trust and the challenge, you're gonna have to trust that things are gonna work out the way that you want to. If there is a sacrifice, if there is a loss, and be patient And how funny, I said Aries, the most impatient sign ready, and it's asking you to be patient this week and patient. And even by me and how long it took for me to get to this reading, there's lessons that you'll get there. And you got Temperance, which is a very patient card as well, but it is a beautiful card of being divinely guided by the angels, the universe, and that there's a natural order that, you know, evolution takes its time, like to build the mountains, to build those streams. Like if you watch a waterfall, how many millions of years it takes for the water to create the funneling to get to that space where it becomes a big waterfall and then creates like a lagoon or a lake underneath it. The way that the volcanoes create islands like Hawaii or stuff like that. Like there is this kind of like going with natural order. I don't know why I keep picking that up. And your trust is to trust in the natural order of the way that things are going right now in life, even if there is some major things of loss or sacrifice or compassion that you need to find for life and the patience that's through that. So Aries pulled the 6th house Taurus moon. So it's an exalted moon in the 6th house. So it's saying the patience of what's best for your day-to-day life and cleaning out a lot of things that are going to be better for your life is what you should spend your energy and relationships doing this week. This is definitely trying to get you more orderly and to a better life and also get a life that actually is moving in a better direction. So, you know, I think that actually by stopping a little bit, you're actually going to find a better life. But by continuing to run amok, you're missing out on a lot of things. And this week definitely is going to help you retain patience. Like, what do they say? Like the early bird gets the worm, and when you fish or when you do anything, there's plenty of fish, right? The first dating like app was Plenty of Fish back in the day. Like the way that you catch a fish is patience. You just don't start throwing the fucking line out there and just keep going and keep going. But sometimes it's like find the right place, finding the right energy, and slowly doing that lure so the fish can actually catch up to it. And if you're trying to catch a relationship right now. Or the patience of letting things go and watching the new life start to take place and not going backwards with Uranus in your 2nd house of your values. Jupiter in your 9th, seeing a bigger picture, and this week might be a big test of patience with that.
You ever dated an Aries?
No, I have never actually been boyfriend and girlfriend with an Aries. I have made out with some Aries and hooked up with a couple back in the day, but it was never like dating. It was never like we're just gonna continue dating. Lasted every Aries relationship I ever even tried to start or anything lasted maybe at the most a week or 2 weeks, and it wasn't ever every day, and it was always very I don't know. And they always, Aries and Leo definitely are they say in astrology a positive mix, but I don't know what it is. But no. Have you before? I have to go pee, so you can talk for a second. I have to pee.
Oh, perfect.
I'm gonna put it on mute.
Perfect. I have dated an Aries, actually. My longest relationship to date. And now I'm single, so here we all are. But I want to go back kind of a little before, because I saw a lot of people kind of just showing out blames and saying Leos are cheaters and whoever else are cheaters. I mean, everybody has that notion inside of them to not be honest and to not be a good person. So it's what you can do to find that truth within and to live your life authentically. I love the quote, self first is not selfish. And I do find that true, as long as you're not hurting those around you, to put yourself first. We need to care about ourselves. We need to find that love, and finding that love, I think that's what actually lets us shine through and show that strength to everybody else. So, but we would love a little bit more interaction with everybody else. How you feeling? So definitely do send those emails out to deeplovetarot@gmail.com. We've got a few fun projects over here in the works. Again, High Vibe TV is a free platform. We do have subscriptions on there, but we are kind of trying to build out that whole community aspect. We want everybody to be involved. We want it to be a space to let your authenticity shine through. We want it to be a space where people can grow. People can find common goals. People can find friends that they never knew before, interest in people. So there's a lot of fun things that we're going to be coming out over here over the next year or so, including events here. We've got that fun fair-like future coming. David's going to be doing a few awesome talks. But we're really trying to bring that whole community aspect that we talk about a lot, because we do appreciate you all spending all this time with us. And we are really creating everything for you guys. So we are here, and the Leo King is back. How was it, Mr. Palmer? How'd it go? Everything flow nicely? We have liftoff, ladies and gentlemen. We have liftoff.
It went smooth.
Good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's it? It went good?
I mean, it's like there's unconscious things we do in life. One of them is urinate. Do you remember every time you've urinated in your life?
Every time.
Every time?
Yeah, I take mental notes every time. I'm at like 2
So
million.
on March 12th of 1996, where did you urinate?
March 12th?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that was a Wednesday. 96?
96.
Yeah, that was at the park. I was at the park. It was actually behind the willow tree. So.
Yeah, I think I was in Green Tree peeing on all the...
In the pool?
No, I was just peeing on all your guys' schools, your pool.
I don't appreciate that.
Every time, actually, we all used to say, and I'm sure your team used to do it, we used to all pee in Green Tree's pool on purpose.
I don't appreciate it.
That was a 90s thing. All right. We're getting down to some last ones here. We got Scorpios. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I've been ready. I've been waiting all day for this.
I love Pablo Francisco. Are you going to Hooters? Are you going to Hooters?
All right, Scorp.
Yeah,
Are you ready to rock this or what?
Let's see what Scorpios
Where are those Scorpios
got.
at inside here?
Oh, okay.
We're in this together. All for one.
Hey, I'm going with the Scorps. I'm with it. Part of fortune. Woo! Now, if you don't know what the part of fortune is in astrology, this is an actual non-physical aspect in astrology, which means this is a calculation done by combining the rising, the sun, and the moon to find the position of the part of fortune based off a day chart or a night chart. This is a fortunate aspect that does bring amazing aspects. Now, the reason why, from my research, there's a lot of different perspectives of why the part of fortune was brought into astrology, but I think a lot of it was with the astrologers who had to deal with kings. You just can't rely on Jupiter all the time, because Jupiter doesn't pay off exactly the way that you think all the time. And they didn't know about Uranus yet. They were only up to Saturn. So they had to kind of find some unique positions in people's charts to kind of bring more increase or more, for me, like literally it might be, and it's always usually a subtle thing. The computer I bought that started the Leo King, which is in that back office, we never use it, but it's still there and it still runs great. It's fucking 6 years old, 6.5 years old, but that day that the sun, or Jupiter, I was wondering when Jupiter crossed my part of fortune, I bought a computer. And I was like, what? That computer built all of this to where we're at today. So, this is a week where, holy cow, Scorpio, there is an amazing element, and it might not look big. It might not look like trumpets coming in like Jupiter, like, dur, 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 dur. But a part of fortune is always what I've noticed. Something happens that turns this week in your love life. That
Ooh,
you notice.
Baby.
You notice.
Oh, baby.
You notice. It seems subtle, but it's a major, major, major fucking increase. I would like throw the party up for this one.
Someone's getting lucky. Who wants that love out there?
Well, let's see what the
Who wants some
challenge
of
card
this
is.
Scorpio
Let's see. The
love?
challenge card is home. So maybe you're getting this great increase, but it still feels like there's something missing maybe in a relationship, of feeling like you know where it's going at its home position, or it might feel like, you know, if it's a new situation, it's kind of like, ooh, like, okay. Like, I don't know exactly where this is rooting itself yet, but it feels good. It's like some fortunate aspect. It's kind of like also kind of part of fortune is very destined. So like there's a lot of great destined things, but maybe you're unsure of where the destiny is going, and that's okay. I think that a lot of this is realizing that, you know, hey, like anytime something comes in that's new, sometimes like I didn't know where that computer was gonna root into. And it still has a home, and I treat that computer like it's fucking a person because I'm like, thank you. If you notice, I keep that motherfucker going. That motherfucker even saved this computer and saved doing shows when I pulled the fan out of it and taped it to that thing. So, this isn't bad, but I think that the challenge too is like, well, where do I settle? Well, maybe you don't need to like understand where this is fully rooted right now. Whatever this new energy that comes in that's going to change your direction in relationships this week, and in your relationship if you're in one. Like, maybe you don't need to fully know where it's all settled at right now. You need to kind of see where the gift is going to go. And then you got ambition. So ambition is high, especially about achieving what you want to have this week in love. And the ambition also as well comes from this fact that in order to even have ambition, you have to have some sort of drive behind it or some sort of, you know, reason. And I think this increase that comes from this part of fortune comes. And also I think that, you know, with ambition, you know, maybe the ambition is to try and root and find where this is all going this week. So there's a lot of positive aspects here and a lot of things about bringing the ability to make these great things happen. But maybe the challenge is to discern what feels like home to you to use that energy in and what does not. So maybe you have a couple choices here. You did get the Hierophant reversed. So this is saying like whatever has been traditionally been happening is not going to work anymore. So a lot of this change that's coming in is saying that you cannot follow the same code that you've been running the relationships in your life or the way that you've been approaching relationships. You need to maybe, and this could also be a relationship that is way different than you've ever been in before. But it is about tying or untying old traditional ways of how you've been going in a relationship and untying traditional ways about the kind of relationship partners that you've been with. But there might be this amazing fortune here that will take you to a place, to more of the ambitions that you want in your life, that you want in love, and even in your personal life. We got Jupiter in the second house in Taurus. So this is about increasing your value big time. Like this is hitting the jackpot this week. It's hitting the jackpot of a better relationship life, and also starting to see talents and skills in yourself in love or feelings and having love that you've never experienced before. So there is a very major shift coming this week for Scorpios with love and romance in a very major way.
That love coming in.
I saw Abby had put a comment in here earlier. Do we follow our rising, our sun, or our moon? I say you use all three. So like if you're a Scorpio rising, definitely pay attention to this and whatever your sun sign is and combine them. If your moon is in any of these signs, pay attention to that because that's how you're going to be emotionally playing things out in relationships. Pretty simple. And also understand where your moon position is and how that affects that house and that house that it's ruled and yada, yada, yada.
It's interesting because I've gotten a couple tarot readings. Dylan, the spirit advisor who's on After Dark with us all the time, he did a reading and it kind of said that. It said, like, looking at the relationships, not how I kind of thought that they had to be this whole entire time, or the relationships that I have been, you know, that I've been in my life, look at it a different way because there's a whole new vision of what's actually going on.
There is a whole new vision.
Yeah. Like, take, for example, like, if you're a Libra, like, you know, traveling, like, over in Greece right now, like, I'm about that.
Yeah. Or let's say you've never been with a musician before that's a full-time musician. It would be like they travel a lot or they are constantly in studio sessions and like you're like, wait, hold on, like, okay. Like it'd be like taking on some new kind of aspect to it all that could be like, wait, I actually love music and I didn't realize I could create music and this person's going to help me do that, and holy shit.
Yeah, being open to the beauty that's presenting itself.
Yeah, big time.
Not kind of just putting ourselves in the corner and saying, no, it has to look like this to be that certain way.
Exactly.
It's a world. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful place we live in.
We got the late Geminis. I want to address Geminis. They got a little upset with me last week by talking about the twins and how they get activated in alcohol and stuff like that. But that's just kind of like the truth. Not all Geminis are bad people or anything. And it wasn't about even like, I love Geminis. I've had more Gemini friends and even girlfriends, and even my ex-wife's a Gemini. So it's like, I like Geminis, and I like Gemini energies. So, I'm not trying to demonize Gemini at all. I mean, my North Node's in Gemini, this is my destiny, is almost to be a Gemini. So, I just want to let people and Geminis know that. Don't take it so harsh, and kind of accept the reality that you are Mercury ruled. You are a little all over the place, and you're exciting, and you change a lot, and you change your mind, and that's okay. And you do have different roles that you can play, and you can turn back to that other role whenever you want. And sometimes there are things that the more aware you become that trigger that change really fast. All right, let's see what Gemini's got rolling. Gemini, 12th house. This is definitely going into much more clearing the past of old relationship aspects, and also trying to find a better, more imaginative escape. Now, there's positive escapes and there's negative escapes. So I think this week, Gemini, it's pay attention to, what's a positive escape and what's a negative one. What is kind of pulling you into maybe a dark road? Stay away from that. What is pulling you into a place that actually is beautiful and wow, it could be great? This is time by clearing the past, by clearing old past relationship situations. If you're in a relationship, clearing the past as much as you can, and then finding a positive escape instead of trying to clear it through escapism itself. If you're single, maybe if you're trying to bring on somebody new into your life, or you're wanting to go, yes, maybe it is about letting go. You have to let go still of some sort of past situation fully in order to see the beauty of the new one coming, and then a positive escape in a positive, beautiful imagination is there. Also, there's a cleansing this week deep inside that is coming for Gemini aspects this week. We did get the karmic path as the challenge, so don't be afraid of the karmic path. I feel that part of the karmic path is, one, accepting a karmic path of a new escape or a new spiritual divine relationship that you have to go to. Two is, don't be afraid that the karmic path is wiping away an old karmic path. You know what I mean? So it's a two-sided coin. I think that Geminis this week are going through extremely awesome, amazing, imaginative, beautiful karmic new paths, while at the same time letting go of karmic paths that they thought were amazing at one time, but they're being bulldozed down. And it's okay, you're gonna have to accept that in order to get the other side of this karmic flip. You know what I mean? I would put, nothing. I would just say that's a truth bomb, that karmic flips come in both sides. That's maybe why the dealers do that in blackjack. I drink my Sprite and choke on it.
You just got to breathe.
What?
You just got to breathe. You fill the lungs.
Well, I always think
them.
truth bomb's
It's
a little
natural.
longer, so I go, oh, I can get a drink in, and then boom, it's there, and I'm like, oh, shit. And I'm spilling again. People must think you know what, kings, when you see them when they get fat and old, maybe I'm just gonna be that guy with Sprite. They go blah, give me my jewel, like that.
Off with the head.
No, I was just gonna say, where's the jester at? All right. Spiritual advice card is the Innocence card. All right. This is a good reading, but I think that this is also with the spiritual advice, remember your innocence. If there's energy that doesn't tap into your innocence, it's bad, okay? If it's using your innocence and taking you down a path you don't want to go, it's bad. It's not the karmic path. It's got to end. I think that, people think that Geminis are this tough, rigid kind of sign. They're actually very sensitive. And I think that it's realizing that sensitivity can kind of you can trick yourself, or you can even be kind of persuaded into things that maybe you're not really feeling. If you're not really feeling it and that innocence is being taken away from you, when you start to look in the mirror and you start not like becoming the true innocent self you are, you need to look back at like, what was the energy that was here? What is the energy that's here that's like putting me into this kind of other state that I don't want to be in, Overall card is a full reverse on the karmic path. Yeah, this is definitely a big flip. One, there are old situations that are definitely like foolish, not good, that are easily this week trying to come back, and you have to or you're going to try and go back. No. Keep your innocence. Go towards the karmic path where you are not the fool, where you are aware of the journey that's moving into a more positive direction forward, not backward. You pulled the 6th house with Jupiter and Libra, so you're understanding relationships that actually are fundamentally healthy and work in your life better. And that's where the good luck is relationships that are healthy and actually make sense in the way that reality works, the way that alchemy works, nature works, and in your life of the life that you really want to have and the life that you're trying to practice, instead of a life that's more of an imagination that actually might be pulling you off a path that's not even who you really are, or it's not feasible, or it's not healthy for your innocent self.
Oh, Geminis. Don't be the fool.
Oh, Geminis.
But you got to start somewhere.
We have, I think, what? How many? I feel.
I don't even know. I mean, we got to be getting down there.
We got Aquarius.
How many we got left up in there?
We have one more, which is Sag.
Oh, shit.
Aquas!
What's up with those aquas? What you thinking, Mr. Palmer?
Well, my father's a double Aquarius.
Larry.
Larry, yeah. I just had a good talk with him, actually. We were talking about our lineage, because I just did all the ancestry stuff and connected all that shit, and my dad's flipping out, like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah.
Apparently the Leo King is more special than we all even knew.
It's true.
We're about to be finding out some interesting things about the history of the Palmer lineage.
Yes. But Aquarians are at a weird space, but it can be really positive or really negative. That's the weird cliff. With Pluto and Saturn in the 12th, it's like either A, like completely delusional and not being aware of like what path really is the best path for them, especially the path is spirituality. So it's like if Aquarius is not following a spiritual path, it kind of is taking them down a weird road. 2, if they are following a spiritual path, it's about learning how to really discern and be clear about what is a true spiritual path. Because you can be spiritual and loving and caring and compassionate, but like, is it actually taking you to your goals and your emotional needs that are exciting enough to feel that it's worth holding on to? Because Aquarians like to bounce, not like Gemini can kind of be a little all over. Aquarius, like, when it wants to disconnect, or see that car out there.
We got someone doing donuts out here in the parking lot.
That energy of Uranus in the 4th house starts to spin around and go, where's worth my time to be the wild rebellion? And honestly, Aquarians are learning to be that exciting rebellion again, instead of being with these Debbie Downer energies. If we're going to talk about love, like Aquarians right now have so much in Leo in relationships right now, it's insane. And they went through eclipses for the last 2 years, so it like brought up some intense relationship stuff, but maybe it's changing emotionally to different positions of better, more, emotionally connected relationships. Man, that guy's getting down. He's just burning his tires. See, that's what I think of an Aquarius. I love Aquarius. They're rebels. And they're coming back into their rebel. And they're a little timid by that in a weird way. Like, it's about letting it out. Jupiter is coming direct in the 11th. Uranus retrograding in the 4th. Like, letting the emotional excitement back into the world back out. And stop hanging around energy that's like restrictive and taken away from the excitement that they are. All right, you ready for Aquarius? I am. Aquarius got the Libra card, relationships. This is a big situation. You already are in major aspects this week that are dealing with relationships because of all the planets in the 7th house. So relationships are a big, big aspect this week. And out of all the signs, besides Capricorn's going through relationship stuff, I would say it'd be Aquarians, and this is even bigger though, because this is really about the relationships you choose, and this is going to be a very focused week on relationships for Aquarians this week. The challenge from it is the growth. So it's like if you're going to stay in old relationships that aren't growing anymore and not taking you anywhere, it's not going to be good, because it's like, this is a growth time. And the challenge is realizing that the growth will also take you to places you've never been before. There's a little bit of this weird uniqueness with this growth of the spiral. So it's like kind of taking you down this more exciting, more deeper road that will have you grow. It's like the rabbit hole a little bit in Alice in Wonderland. So it's like, the challenge though is like the fear of doing that fully. Like you're gonna get insecurities that get brought up by that. Because anytime we get into a growth period in our life, we're a little insecure if we're going to be able to do it. It's like, you know, trying out for the baseball team, or, you know, trying out new makeup. I don't know, you know, whatever. I don't do makeup, but you know what I mean? Like, or in spiritual things, like doing things that you've never done before. And especially with relationships, like maybe having a relationship that you never have tried. We talked about that with Scorpios a little bit, but this is like not being afraid to have growth, like experience a new growing. And even I think for Aquarians, it could be like how much you've ever grown a relationship to, like how far do you really want to grow? Like there's a challenge of like, well, I'm comfortable at this position, but it's like, what if this is asking you to grow even bigger? You know what I mean? So the spiritual advice card is luxury, which is, I think, the quality of the relationships that you pick. That it could be, it's got to feel like classy, divine, like proper, crisp, you know? There's a swan in this card right here. So it is kind of the energy of, there's something about swans that hold that class, that beauty, that allow things to truly step into that vibration of a relationship. Like luxury doesn't mean like in a Bentley or in a Mercedes, but the feeling of when you go somewhere, it doesn't even matter if it's just natural. Like, and that's why I'm saying a swan like in a lake, right? And how it looks in the lake. Like it's just proper, it's beautiful, it's classy. It's not like a bunch of crows kind of like hanging around a fucking McDonald's like wrapper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you never want to eat a crow.
No, and you don't want to eat crow. But
no.
So I think that this is about growing into better relationship energies. If you're in a relationship currently, like this is about what growth do you need to make in yourself. That also you need to see if your balance, the partner's ready to. But I think for single aquas out there, it's like this is really the time for you to grow into the best kind of relationship you ever had and to not fall victim to your growth blocks. And a lot of that is taking more action. The 5 of Swords is definitely, you know, especially with this growth, is like, you don't need to try too hard, but you also need to make sure that you're trying on this aspect. So, like, you don't need to try and, like, overgrow the thing. But definitely, the 5 of Swords is a reminder to put energy into this, you know? Because I think that Aquarians can sometimes be pulled back. And with all this energy in Leo, and this week especially as Jupiter comes direct in their 11th house, it's about maybe trying a little bit harder to get back into the growth of the world and the growth of the expansion in their life. So that's kind of interesting. And I think that it's an interesting thing with this luxury that comes with this, because it's like, it really doesn't feel like you have to try so hard. The Five of Swords is definitely a card that's not trying too hard. It's just natural. But if it shows up, make sure that you show up for it and still put energy into it. Doesn't mean not do anything at all. Does that make sense? Because you can miss out on something beautiful by just not doing much or not putting enough in, or, you know, missing opportunities that could be there of growth because of a fear or a tendency of always doing things the same way.
That guy outside, he's not scared.
No.
Or she, whatever's going on out there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. We got
got
nice
some
airflow
Astro
going
dice.
on in here, though, so it's good.
Yeah. Oh, I got it. I got it. Alrighty. We got Gemini and Mercury, so that's dignified Mercury and Gemini in the 11th house. Yeah, this is all about communicating in a new way, trying new things, connecting with people that are more stimulating, that are going to have the access way to this new path for you in relationships, and starting to investigate much more curiosity, much more fun, being more communicative, looking at your life and actually seeing if the environment you're in and your day-to-day life is actually an environment that is actually stimulating you enough, and finding that in relationships is going to help you understand your life better and the kind of world that you could have and where you could be. So we have Sag as the last one.
Oh, the Sages.
I know. Those Sages, they've had a lot of weird stuff pop up for 9 weeks now.
And apparently I forgot the Gemini abbreviation, so I apologize. That would be GEM is what I would have put on there for you.
Oh, why? What did you put?
I apparently did not put one on there. I've been hooking all the other signs up with, and there's a Gemini out there who's not too happy. He's asking.
All right.
I'm ready to rock.
So am I. It's been a long show.
It has. We are at 2 hours and 37 minutes
Wow.
at the moment.
I'm just kind of clearing the decks for the Sages. Maybe I feel exhausted because the Sages readings, and I'm nothing against Sages, but it's been like, there's been a lot of weird stuff with Sag relationship stuff. So, let's see what pops up this week. The North Node, life's purpose. So, number one thing for Sag energy this week is to focus 100% on what is your total life's purpose and path. Now, this is about in relationships. What is your path? Who is in your life that is taking you towards your actual life path, and where you are actually going to a place that feels like it is your calling, your destiny, and where to go. This is where you stop continually trying to go south in relationships. Okay? Go north. And if energy is trying to pull you back down south, or you are trying to go backwards, it will continually be bad. But this is a good card to have at the very beginning of this. Remember, North Node is in Cancer, so this is about finding emotional connection and intimacy. Are you truly open to emotional intimacy, or do you block it off? Or are people not giving you what you want back? Maybe it's because you are throwing a wall up, or maybe because they don't like you. There's a harsh truth with that, and it's like, well, then that's not it, you know. So and this is a big time with Jupiter coming direct this week for a new you and a new path and a new purpose. But Uranus in the 6th house is going to kick Sages in the head about what's going on with your day-to-day life, your reality. Does it mix in with the kind of love that you even want? Like, are you willing to be more flexible? Like, Sages have to be flexible, but, they can believe they are, but really are they? You know what I mean? The guides as the challenge. So this is where it's almost like really not paying attention to what the guides are trying to say, what your angels are trying to say, what God is trying to say is like, what is blocking you from having the beautiful love and on a life's purpose. It's almost like, because these are like lines of water, and I always feel that like it's about really tapping in with going with the flow. I feel like there's a little bit of underneath hidden challenge of restriction of going with where the flow is and truly allowing yourself to integrate into the flow of what's not working and let that be, or integrate into the flow of what is working that you're denying or blocking or not listening to what your guides are trying to pull you towards. Like, you're having to, with these two cards, guides and North Node, these are very, destiny aspects and positions, and especially with like putting the universe first and letting the universe kind of control this thing instead of yourself, and blocking things out yourself, which happens a lot. You got the purity card too, which is actually pure, not in the sense of, well, I'm pure in this one way only. It's like, no, purity comes from listening to what the more openness is and to experience like where the guides are telling you to go. And more importantly, purity is when you're living in your life's purpose and you are, whatever you want, you're going for fully. You got to fully go for what you want, Sag. So if you want out of something, you got to get out. If you want something, you need to put a little more in. And the guides are trying to teach you the way to do it, but it's like, are you listening to them? Are you listening to your intuition? Or are you not listening to your intuition? I think that's a big question here. Because it's pure to listen to your intuition, and it's pure to drive the life force of your destiny towards your life's purpose of what you want and what you really want to have. And if you're not getting that, it's almost like, have you really given it your full push? And if you really have by the end of this week and it's not there, then it's not meant to be. And you got the Ace of Pentacles. You're trying to build something beautiful and great, but it's going to be from a new start. And this is going to be a new start of how you're going to start listening to your guides. You're going to start listening to the universe more. You're going to start listening to what actually the universe is trying to build in your life new, and it is giving you an opportunity this week. But you got to listen to the guides. You got to even listen to, people and what they even might be saying to you. Like, there's a little bit of like, where the best pure space is. Go only there. Don't go in energy that's holding you back, or that's in any way, whether you're single, holding your back from some love aspect of somebody you want to connect with, or if you're in a relationship, holding yourself back by connecting to a relationship that's continually not working out. If it is working out, which, Jupiter retrograde station, Uranus in the 6th, like Leo energy in the 9th, Saturn in the 2nd, like, there's a lot of reevaluating going on in yourself and your own confidence and your own self-worth. The universe is giving you that worth if you follow your energy to go for what you really want in whatever capacity and aspect that might be. And of course, Sag is, we got Uranus and Libra, so there's unpredictable relationship coming this week, and also forcing you to try new positions in relationships that you haven't before. Hold on. Let's see here.
Sagittarius is being tricky for us. We actually do have a question from a Sagittarius.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we do.
Well, I am down like a clown to take that question after I pulled this last die for them. First house. Take initiative to the relationships differently that you ever have before. Try an approach you've never tried in relationships. And try to actually, for once in your life, Sagittarius, actually get what you want by harmonizing by what you want, by trying a new way of approach. This is about approaching relationships completely different and not being afraid as well. Courage to not be afraid to, if you're in a relationship, to lose one or try something different or try a new approach. And more importantly, understanding that if there's relationships that leave you, that there's something about you that you have to figure out here. So this is going to be a very major week for you about how to finally get to the understanding of the weirdness of relationships that have been going on by being clear on what is being shown fully to you. And whether or not you're showing up fully, or whether somebody else is showing up fully, but are you showing up fully for them to even know whether to show up fully? There's a lot of that weird stuff going on. I would say that, Sages and Capricorns this week definitely were on there's a lot of work going on there. What's the question?
So the question is about breaking chains. How do we free ourselves without losing our integrity and attempting to hone and embrace the energy from the eclipses without casualties?
Well,
it's a deep one.
Number one, that's fear, right? So fear of casualties means you're not willing to go through the experience of even knowing what the outcome might be. So like breaking chains, you don't know if there'll be casualties. You don't know how it'll turn out until you actually go through the experience. That's the whole part of being a Sagittarius, is the learning of going through the experience. Even if the experience looks like it's going to be hell, you don't know if it will be until you actually go through the experience. One thing that's very difficult, I think, for Sagittarius right now, especially in their whole lives, is Scorpio is the ruler of their 12th house. So they can get very obsessed and connected to something. And, especially that's what kind of drives the force of a belief, right? Like like if you think of a Sag as like, I believe, if a Sag is a preacher, like, I believe in God, I'm going to preach. So it's like, I will never let it go. You know what I mean? But maybe because remember the opposite of Sag is Gemini. So maybe some new facts come in that disprove that belief. Like, or in a relationship sense, there's just been so many facts that have shown that this thing is not working. You have to fully deploy complete destruction. It's Scorpio. It is death. You have to fully let go and die the energy force. And the North Node in Cancer is about the 8th house, not being afraid of endings, like completely. Like you end things every day. Like you have no problem flushing your poop down the toilet. But, are you thinking about your poop right now? That was part of you. That was you. That's why the bowels rule the 8th house, and also the bowels rule Scorpio. And I think that, this is a very intense time for Sagittarius about learning to be more open to the truth. One, if you're in a relationship where it's not reciprocated back, and it just is like you're being like almost used because you're trying to own your value through the connection to something that you've had that at one time maybe had some sort of great passion or some sort of connection. But if it's not delivering it anymore, then you've already seen the adventure through. And the only way that you can we end journeys all the time by going, I'm over the journey, I'm going back to myself, going back to my home, to my soul. That's why Pisces 4th house is for Sag. I got to go back to my soul and retreat back to my soul. I'm over this adventure. And the other part with the 8th house is there are single Sagittarius out there that are not fully willing to open up the gates without some sort of like trust or some sort of aspect of like intimacy that is fully there. Like it's almost like there's like a lot of gates. Like there's like, it's like going to Mr. Burns's house. Like you got to go talk to, Smith, and you got to go talk to, the guard dogs. When the guard dogs come out in The Simpsons at fucking Burns, like, send out the hounds. Like, Sages don't want to admit it because, of course, everything for Sag is, we're wonderful and we're great, we're positive. But when they are emotionally dealing with situations, especially sexually, passionately, or connection-wise, set out the hounds and test and see if it's okay, one. And then two, don't send out the hounds on something that I like a lot, Like Smithers is out there. It's Smithers, right? And Smithers is out there, and Mr. Burns is like, don't send out the
Smithers.
house. I love Smithers way too much. But Smithers is always like creepingly like wanting Mr. Burns. You know what I mean? Like, and in a weird way. And maybe Mr. Burns would have a better life maybe without Smithers. You don't know. I mean, until you would go through the experience. But we have never seen the experience of Mr. Burns getting rid of Smithers. Like, remember he had Homer, and then he actually like enjoyed Homer, and actually Homer was kind of a cool like replacement there for a minute. So, but he never tried, anybody else. And I think that, Sages are like in a position right now more than ever in their lives. Like this is a chance to open to receiving fully what you want, but you have to A, let go of what is not connected. And 2, if there's a connection right there, 0 walls, right? You're a Scorpio, dude. If you know and you feel and it's there, it's like fucking get it,
Yeah, I'm in. I mean, you'll know if I'm in or not. If I put my time and effort into you, you know that I'm in.
So
If I'm not, I'm out.
But I also think somebody said Sag is faithful in its beliefs.
Everyone's faithful. Everyone's not faithful.
Correct.
I touched on this while you were in the
12th
restroom.
house
Come on.
Scorpio stuff is the most deepest secrets that, believe it or not,
The
the deepest secret holders, I was telling this to somebody the other day, are Sages. And they will never like to hear it, of course, because they're the most positive sign. But if you think of psychology and how it works as well, the person who always shows the most positive hides the deepest secrets too, right?
What's all those people online now that are posting that they're living this perfect world when really everything's shit around them?
Correct, which is a very big story. Sag rules the story. So it's a story with a Sag. So they have a hard time letting go of parts of the story. Like they're like, we don't want any traumatic aspects. But what if it makes a story is a good fucking storyline where there is a fucking trauma, there is something that is lost, and then something gained in the experience and the adventure and the hope that is found after. And that's the scariest part of writing a story and realizing that we live in a reality that is preset about a story in our lives. That Sag have a hard time going through that part of the trauma to see that on the backside of the trauma is the most amazing fucking adventure of a lifetime. This was the funniest comment I read of the whole night. My Sag is still faithful after 3 years divorced. What does that mean?
I don't know, she has a spell over him or her? Or she's just naive?
I'd love if you describe that one. Somebody put, yeah, my ex-Sag said he was faithful. Lies.
Yeah, I mean, what's to say about that? Does that even count?
I don't know. I'm trying to
Faithful
understand what
what
this woman was saying about my ex-husband that I've divorced. My ex-Sag said, divorced of 3 years is still faithful.
You need to let him free.
Maybe she's
You shouldn't
making a
even
joke.
be worried
like,
about that anymore. If you guys have been separated, you shouldn't be
he
worried.
did cheat, and I don't know. There's
But
got to
now
be
he's
some
being
clarity
faithful.
here. He is still faithful. Like, I don't understand if you're divorced. Like, how is he still faithful if he's divorced? If you're divorced,
I don't know, but apparently he is still faithful with an exclamation point.
yeah, okay,
So, whatever gets you going.
right. And
Gets you
it's
going.
not just about like faithful of cheating or whatever with Sag. I think it's like what it is with it being Scorpio is just like also not showing what really is happening underneath. Might not be about cheating, might be about some sort of emotional situation, might be about not wanting to reveal to make the story go away that, they don't want people to think of them that way. Right? Like, I'm sitting here and vulnerable and tell you when I have hemorrhoids on this show, you know what I mean? So, but like a Sag will not maybe want to make that the story, Like a good example is Britney Spears. What's going on with her right now? I'm a celebrity astrologer, and so you're going to get this truth. But I love having celebrities in our media as an astrologer to use them to help people understand their own lives and what's going on in a public sense that's actually happening. So Britney Spears is going through what we are questioning or don't know, another breakdown like she did when she shaved her head back in the early 2000s. Remember that? And right now there's a big
shave head Britney.
Yeah, I love Britney. She's awesome. But what's crazy is, one, she put out like a weird Instagram and tweet kind of saying like, I'm fine. And she's trying to get her money too, because I think it's her father, and I also think her ex, Kevin Featherline or whatever.
Yep.
She has to make payments to him.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
And like there's like a big fight for the money and all this shit, and then like her mom and I think like parts of her family and the guy she's with now are like trying to protect her money by showing she hasn't lost it. So there's this whole like secret that nobody knows. Did Britney really lose it again? Is she really bipolar? Like there is a video online, and I can talk about this because I'm a celebrity astrologer and I know a lot about the celebrity culture, and we live in LA and Hollywood, and it's been my life. Is that, you know, there's a video online, you can look it up, Britney Spears meth, like her smoking meth with, I think it was Kevin Featherline in the like 2000s. And so like a Sag will not tell you about alcohol, drug, or any kind of use going on unless they are fully trusting of you and they trust that they know that you're not going to reveal that information to people that they don't want to know. So like they won't come out and talk about it. Or like good example was Frank Sinatra. He had a couple wives. He was part of the Rat Pack. And whenever it got to very personal subjects like Johnny Carson show, forgot which year, they asked Frank, I think it was Don Rickles asked Frank, what do you listen to when you have sex? Are you listening to your own records? And you can see the uncomfort in Frank, which is a very positive guy and always like life is grand, and Don Rickles is just fucking with him saying like, I'm the king of the world, you know, like start singing it like, like all this stuff. And it took a minute for, you can watch the video online under the old Johnny Carson shows, but Frank has a hard time with it. And that's where Sages have a hard time, when it gets really deep, really personal, and in their personal world about revealing some deeper aspects of what's really going on. Like to him, it's almost like maybe he projected and set a record that, you know, I like to listen to like, I think he said like, you know, kind of like Tijuana brass shit, like big band stuff, like, you know, or what, I forgot what it was, but you know what I mean? Like, but maybe really underneath he's like listening to like Phantom of the Opera or something. I don't know. Like, who knows? So, you know, like there's that whole thing of like revealing what's really going on, not exposing it to people. Like you don't see Sages put out messages like, you know, I'm going through this really tough time in my life right now. They just want to always say the positive. So that's not a bad thing. Maybe that's their job, to be the keepers of the negative, to stay the positive.
And so apparently what she meant by her Sag is still faithful is that he still helps out around the house and he mows the lawn and takes care of their kids. I don't know how that's faithful.
Right.
I mean, that
yeah,
just
we're
seems
talking
like being
about
a good
like,
person.
Is he banging another girl while you're married, like in the car?
I don't know anymore.
At night when he says he's out at the library doing more research.
He's probably at the library.
Yeah. What's one of the names of the strip clubs out here in Orange County?
Sounds like a good guy, regardless. So
yeah, he sounds like a great.
Nice work.
I have never really met a bad Sagittarius out there. So they're not bad people. It's just like they are the crypt keepers of secrets and what's really going on, and they also are the crypt keepers of. I mean, I've said it before. I mean, I was single, but you know, when I went through a breakup in 2012 and afterwards I met these two sisters and I made out with the one sister, but I didn't know the other sister existed yet until she showed up the night I went on my first date with the sister. And then I was like, oh, I actually like this other sister. And so like I didn't go farther than kissing with this girl because I was like, well, I like the sister, but the sister was there with another guy. And I was like, well, is that her boyfriend? Like I kind of didn't ask. We all played games. Anyway, I told the sister that I had made out with, like, hey, like, kind of am into your sister. And she didn't kind of take it well at first. And then she actually was kind of cool. And she's still cool to this day. We're like more cool friends. And then she like was like, oh yeah, here I'll tell my sister. And then I ended up going on a date with that girl who's a Sag, and she was separated, going through divorce. And long story short, we ended up dating for months, you know. And anyway, let's just say that I don't want to reveal everything, but like, yeah, then we saw each other a couple years later, and yeah, it just wasn't good, you know what I mean? Like she ended up, I think, getting back with her husband, and then I came around again, and that time, you know, we were like at an Usher concert, and ironically enough, Usher talks about this shit in his songs, and a Snapchat was out, and I think her husband saw the Snapchat, was like, motherfucker, you're with that fucking Leo King motherfucker? So, that's my personal experience with some Sag women.
I have 0. So, I mean, maybe I do. Not off the top of my head, though, but who knows?
I mean, see, I'm willing to be open and vulnerable. I'm not going to give all the details out because that person probably knows, or one of the sisters are watching, or I don't know, because I'm cool with them. And I actually still really admire them and as people, and I love them. They're like family, you know, but like I haven't talked to them in years since that concert. It was before I met my ex-wife, Leanna. Like, it was like right before. So, yeah, it was like...
it's a whole new world.
It is a whole new world. But yeah, like, and the struggles of that relationship, I'm sure are probably still going down. Like, if it's been like that forever, like, you know, like I feel like if it's just not clicking and it just is not working, people really try really hard and it's admirable, and I think you should give it your full best. But when it gets so far down the road that it's like you're not even happy anymore, like, got a piece, you know what I mean? Like, we got a piece on this show. So I'm sending you all the best energy. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Craig, thanks for your great input. And
hey, thank you. Thank you.
What kind of eyes do you have again? Sincere eyes?
Sincere blue eyes.
And I was given bedroom eyes, I think. I'll take bedroom eyes tonight.
And again, the art behind me, that's done by Kim Tabay. She's got free course up on High Vibe TV right now. She takes you from start to finish, and that's Tabay. You can find her on Instagram, Kim_Tabay. You can find High Vibe TV on Instagram. You can find me, Chief Mojo Rising, on Instagram with 2 E's. We're going to be here for you every week. We've got some awesome new content coming out, and look forward to sharing it with you all.
We do have a lot of awesome new content. I'm going to be doing a video about the Sun Venus and the Mars Venus. I'm going to record it this week and put it out for people to understand where relationships, projects, and money are going for this next month's cycle, which is intense, and it's going to change rapidly. And especially I'm going to put it out before Jupiter goes direct and Uranus goes retrograde. So that'll cover this next month. I've been doing not monthlies based off August 1st to August 31st, or, you know, September 1st to September 30th, like that, because it's like, I'm going with where the cycles are going to get you prepared for the cycles. Like, I'm trying to teach people to follow the astrology, not the calendar. And doing it like by the lunation cycle or the cycle of planetary cycles that are going on. This one's going to be a Sun Venus and a Mars Venus and a Sun Mars too coming up. Then I I just put a video out on YouTube last night, or it premiered yesterday, about the responsibility of astrology and the responsibility of understanding what you're getting into. And I do want to make this warning to people by getting into tarot or getting into astrology, that there is a big warning when it does come to coming into this stuff, especially in how it deals with your emotions and how you have to be non-emotionally attached too much. Of course, there's got to be emotion somewhere, but this is very mercurial, hermetic, which means that you have to be willing to look at the truth, and the truth is the truth, and it can hurt the emotions, especially when you're emotionally attached to situations that are not fucking good. So, that the universe sees better, but you are emotionally, egoically attached. Emotions are a cardinal sign, and all cardinals have an ego. As far as Aries, the ego of self; Cancer, the ego of I want to feel this emotion only; Libra, the ego of I want this relationship; and of course Capricorn, the ego of I only want this job or this goal or this achievement. And that video's out, but I also am going to be putting out, I have a race this weekend, so it might not come out this week, but we're going to be doing some really cool new After Darks. Deep Astrology's tomorrow, After Darks tomorrow, and the last spiritual dance music is up on highvibe.tv. It's on YouTube, but there's a couple songs muted because of the copyright, but you can watch it for free without even being a subscriber. Go to highvibe.tv, and you can watch it there, or download the apps on iPhone, Android, and Apple TV. Thanks for all your support. Truly love you all. I will pull one Ganesha card for everybody as the overall for all love and relationships this week, and we got innocence. What feels innocent? What feels, beautiful? I think we've pulled this one fucking I feel like we're gonna pull another one too. And we also got perseverance. Okay, I don't want that one. Look at my ego. I just am picking what I know is different. Cultivation. We're cultivating the perseverance of true innocence. And innocence is what love truly comes from, where it feels like a child-like energy, and it's innocent, it's playful, it's passionate, it's innocent. It's not hard work. Love you all. See you later.